Yo, peace and black power. It's your brother Knowledge Born Alive. Do Knowledge Radio. The place where Knowledge is born.
Radio.
This is 3K.
Think tank.
This is 3K. Hey. This is 3K.
I swear that knowledge is born. It's where I swear that knowledge is born. It's where I swear that knowledge is born. It's where I swear that knowledge is born. Who ran, who ducked, who drew down, return fire. We're the warriors, the healers, enlighteners, enlighten us. I'm tired of the same old, that game old with an upgrade. I'm a sunbathe in the sun rays while my guns blaze and they complain. Devil, my level not attainable. My metal, not malleable. I'm a man, didn't need that manual. Reparations is incalculable. Yeah, we wanted in blood, dead in the begging, head in the beheading, metal to the meddling. Members is aggressive, getting to the Armageddon. Karma, seem calmer when it comes to retribution. Caliber, catalyst in my clips and I use them on traitors and haters and the ones that spread confusion. Cause the devil's playground wasn't built for our amusement. Hey, meet me at the guard hour. Hey, in these strange days, you gon' need a strong counter. Spin like Beyblade. Impenetrable armor, Orient aura. This story, this saga get gory before it get calmer. Keep holding that revolutionary posture. 85 gon' dip and dodger, but when they get monster, they turn into MC Light, earrings, and become door knockers. I'm irate, they pirate the culture, send them to Davy Jones' locker. It's okay. Okay. Let them think that you lost it. Be patient, this type of thing you can't force it. Play possum, but nah, not know about the road. And they can't comprehend cause the language is coded. We plan ideas and we plan explosives. Make your pockets go from more bits to more bread. The portal done open, they can't close it. You ain't got a sideline, you can cause more risk. No set birth date, no Dorian Gray portraits. It's about to get ugly and these devils can't forfeit. Ancestral memories, so no, I won't forget. What we building is an impenetrable fortress for sure. Every show is just like a courtship, and my flow for sure tighter than your gal's corset. It's okay. Okay. We are the source, you can't outsource it. Even Spartans don't want no parts, Nev. What do you know? Before you know it, 3,000 wild Africans at your doorstep. Hey, meet me at the guard hour. Hey, in these strange days, you gon' need a strong counter. Spin like Beyblade. No, we will not cower while the rest they play safe. We will move with God's power. This is not for play. Honor my ancestors, play the Orient day. Peace to you, loved ones, stay dangerous and stay safe. AKAs and AKs coming to make their caves cave. Wreck the race like tape case, stay dangerous and stay safe.
Brothers just walk up on me and they're just like, you know, you can just see the hunger in their eyes. Like as soon as you know what I mean? They was like, yo, you know, we agree and we think that you would fuck with us, and you know, I'm telling you, like, we nice and just give us a fucking chance type of shit, you know?
All right, peace. Peace to the family. Peace to you and yours. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, place where Knowledge is born. It's your host, Knowledge is born alive. We got the man, the myth, the legend in the building, okay? One of my brothers, one of my teachers, the only person on the planet that is living that I discuss spiritualism or spiritual matters with. The hell with the rest of y'all. You understand? The hell with the rest of y'all. One who is pragmatic, one who makes his way of life practical and very simplistic, whether you initiate it or not. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some, present to others, the cultural vanguard of the living Orisha tradition, our brother, our teacher, the author, the great one, Brooklyn's finest, Omri Padina Productions own, Brother Oba in the building.
Knowledge, what's good, brother?
What's going on?
Good? What a great introduction. You know what I mean? I can't say too much. You know, you can't give your own praises. You gotta let other people put, you know what I mean, put coal in the furnace. So
that's it.
I appreciate the, you know what I mean, the big ups and all that. Yeah, today, you know, we're gonna I'm gonna give y'all a little history lesson for anybody that is ignorant to why I talk the way I talk. Right? You know, my views are not the cookie cutter renegade, Pan-Africanist mentality. I grew up in the culture and not just from a spectative advantage point, but like to be in the mix, right? So when we talk about Black economics, my mother spent her 401k to send me to a Black freedom school, right? Because I wasn't faring well in the board of education, because I was already being indoctrinated at home, and it was clashing with what they was telling me in the class. And I was already reared with a certain amount of confidence and self-respect, self-determination. So you have to understand that the Nguza Sabas is something that I grew up in. I never knew what it was to receive gifts on Christmas. I know about the January 31st, you know what I mean? December 31st, January 1st, we having Kwanzaa. So, my people didn't just talk it, they lived it. They was a part of the movement that is now been resurrected by way of technology, so that everybody has access to these things. But this was a time when you had to put the footwork in. You had to go to First World in Harlem, right? You had to go to African Echoes in Newark, New Jersey, to go get the info, to see those people that have become cliches at this point. Dr. Sebi has become cliches. They use him as a novelty now. Like, oh yeah, you talking that Sebi stuff, right? But I was there when, with the ins and the outs of all of that. When he had the health food store on Atlantic, right? I know people who really took the courses from Layla Africa and got something out of that could teach you something, right? That are not on the internet. They're not at all of the lectures trying to be the bye-bye or the yeah. So when I'm critical of the things that we do, they are not from a vantage point of some boule position, or from some late coming intellectual rediscovery of all of this Black power economics thing. Like, nah, I've been here, right? My name, and just in my name, and having to be taught to even respect the European name that was put upon us, right? That I'm proudly an Ulf. That's a Dutch name that my father's father took, right? Because they understood the implications of infiltration. You feel me? Sometimes it's necessary for you to be incognito, right? They say on the battlefield, you don't salute the general because you'll get the sniper to shoot him. So, that's the problem I see in our community, that we look for leadership and someone to essentially be the scapegoat, to be the sacrifice. And that's not what you're supposed to do to your leaders. You're supposed to insulate them. In the midst of all of this Black emasculation that's going on right now, we have a proclivity to take things and make comedy out of them, but at some point we have to stop the laughing. Like, sometimes when you're getting into a real situation and you got some clowns, they want to key. This ain't the time for that. Like, I've gone to funerals where people have had the audacity to be keying in the back. Like, what you laughing about? You know what I mean? If that's your mechanism, you're gonna have to step your social etiquette up a little bit. You know what I mean? It's because we've used that comedy as a means to just smile and grin and bear shit, right? And the bigger question is that when you, just in the last 30 years of our existence, we have seen impossibilities happen.
Right.
Right? What I mean by that is 30 years ago, if we was having a discussion and you would have said to me that Whitney Houston, Prince, and Michael Jackson would die before Clive Davis, before Quincy Jones, before Barry Gordy, I would be like, you sound crazy.
Crazy as hell.
But today, that's a fact. Today, the idea that the three most influential black men on popular music in the last 30 years from each coast, the West Coast, the Midwest, and now the East Coast, are now all about to be incarcerated. Yeah, we got some explaining to do. Feel me?
Right.
And the one thing that has not been consistent is the spirituality. The one thing that you could say is that in the times of Jim Crow, if all black people had was Jesus Christ, they was using that to the best of their ability, and it gave them some sort of cohesion. Right? I don't have any critique of the Nation of Islam in its inception and in the early days. I have critique today when you tell me you start doing some Scientology shit. Like, what? I have critique when I hear Wesley Muhammad talk about the fact that Elijah Muhammad was talking about the Anunnaki. Like, yo, you're not fitting to spin me like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, last night I had to call up because I was fed up. You know, he said that's his people's, but then one of them Bay dudes was on Black Magic, and he was talking about how the Moors created hoodoo. Like, you just can't let Africans have any credit for what they invented. You're gonna have to always give it to some Islamic or some Hebrew people. I don't understand. It baffles me. You feel me? It baffles me that the House of Consciousness is still having debates about the Bible.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So, like I said the other day, I'm gonna give this, and this is on your platform. I'm gonna give this. This is the conundrum that they all gotta get past. I want them to go back to all of the Kemetic dudes and all the people that read about Sumer. I want you to explain this to me. If those are the first civilizations, I want to ask, did they use coins? If they had coins, and you tell me that the cowrie shell is the first unedible currency, I need you to fix that conundrum. Because there ain't no cowrie shells on the walls in Egypt. Ain't no cowrie shells. And we know this because even the Orient, the East, China, when they did begin to cast their coins, they called them brown cowries. So what happened to that set of currency that ruled the world first? Where did we overlook that? That we got right into some pyramids, into some Sumerian and Anunnaki. Where did we go over the fact that the human beings all over the world were trading with cowrie shells, and that there is still a tradition of people who still hold the cowrie shell in great esteem? See, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about black scholarship. So that the same person tried to tell me that, oh, Islam did not hurt Africa, it united Africa. And I'm like, you bugging. You bugging. We not already go through this with John Henry Clark?
Right.
So now we just running on a hamster wheel. You just regurgitating the knuckle dragging information. We posted and got up out of that. Right? You worrying about a cemetery, man. I need you to worry about this farm. I need where something grows, right? So, like I said last night, generational wealth, we had it. It's in the South. It's in the land. But before we get to that, we need to talk about the aspects of our hierarchy and our caste system within African American society, right? So that there's a whole conversation about the migration of Black people moving to the major cities. And at some point, the people in the South beginning to envy those people that move to the cities. Like, oh, they think they better than us. So that we kind of cursed ourselves, right? So that people went to the cities so that they could send money home so that they could pay the property taxes, and so the man wouldn't take the property from them that they acquired, right? Because it was the people that moved to the cities that was helping to pay the property taxes down in the South.
Right.
But the people in the South were cursing us so that we befell upon us a great plague called crack. And it came with a little bit of hypocrisy, because those same people that was talking about what we was doing in the North, we brought it down to the South and they embraced it. So now, you know how much land has been neglected because people don't know about deeds and things of that nature, because the family in the South, they don't want to tell the folks up north that there's some land down here. It gets confiscated by the county, right? Pilgrims just on their land, hunting, doing all kinds of stuff, right? Squatting on your land. Yeah, that's where our generational wealth was. And you have to understand that that was the real generational wealth, because that was the work that the Black folks worked for that land. They told the white, but you keep your 40 acres, I'll get my own. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that we have a caste system. So like right now, I'm in Atlanta, and they be like talking about this place like it's the new Renaissance. And all I see is the regurgitation of the shit that was happening in New York.
Right.
Like, when I heard one dude make a comment, he was like, "Oh, look at Jay-Z, he trying to get dragged like Lil Wayne," and I was like, "What rock did you crawl under from under? Like, did you know that? Like, first of all, let's talk about the fact that in the South there was not any Caribbean, so there was no aesthetics of dreadlocks or any of that type of culture, not until the late 90s. So, if you from Brooklyn, it's all around you. You grow up with West Indians. And so you know something about, this is why, so the early 90s, the late 80s, the early 90s, everybody got dreads in Brooklyn. Not in Jersey. They was doing that in BK first. We had gold teeth in our mouth. We call them French, y'all call them grills. Now you try to act like we didn't show you how to do that. So there's a chasm within our community based on the coast and the environments that we find ourselves in, that we start to create some kind of dissension between one another. You know what I mean? And so the one thing, like I said, that is missing is the fact that there's no spirituality, because obviously the other organizations have not brought any peace, because you got Crips and Bloods everywhere and you got nothing but war everywhere. So we, in those organizations, lack a basis of spirituality. So if you go on TikTok, they call it witch talk now. Everybody's up there talking about spells and their religion.
What they call it? They
witch
call
talk.
It what?
Right? And I'm going to be honest, they are my babies. If they throw in tarot cards, you wasn't doing that before. Now, Bobby and them was talking about it, but in conversation, they was talking about it. They were telling me about books. I'm the first one that stepped on the scene, and I was like, yeah, I'm initiated. I really do this.
That's real.
I'm not telling you what I think goes on behind the sheet. I'm telling you, yeah, we got some shit going on, and I'm not fitting to tell you until you get down. Right? So like I said, it becomes unfortunate when, like I said, when I turn on and I see bruh talking and he talking about a tradition that you didn't even know existed 10 years ago. 10, 20 years ago, you didn't even know that this thing was happening. Like on some real Harry Potter shit, you didn't know that we was going and we had stores and we was going to, you had no idea. And that's the part that is so amazing to me, is that people will now try to own something that you were ignorant of. And now I can say that because the joke's on you. I've been known. When you was telling me about the guard body and all that, I was like, yeah, cool, but I know I got Chongo in them in the crib. I already understood that. Yeah, then asked me why I got white on, why I got bees, why the chickens is pulling up, the animal place is pulling up in front of the crib. You know what I mean? I've been doing this. And it's not without understanding. So like culturally, so like I'm not Cuban, right? I'm like, I go there, whatever, I'm not Cuban, but culturally we share the same things because I grew up with Lukumi, with Orisha in my house. The words, the cultural aesthetic, right? So when I see people all of a sudden, and now they're on the internet, they smoking a cigar, they got the dashiki on, like, yes. I'd be like, you can't really want me to really believe that. You're imitating an imitation. You understand? You feel me? Because I understand the cultural effects of all of this stuff, right? So that when you get to where everybody's worrying about like foundational and ancestors, the slaves, which really kind of becomes like whether you come from the Caribbean or not, you still came from some sort of slavery. So that's null and void. What is the issue is that continental African Americans, our beef is that we have nowhere to go. So when you come from wherever you come from, Jamaica, Trinidad, Africa, South America, wherever you come from, if you don't like what happens here, you have the option to leave. I don't have that option. I hold up an American flag with contempt for it. You don't understand my circumstance. Right? So let's talk about the fact that why African Americans have not flourished over the last 100 years is because we have no place to produce vice. That's how the rest of the world has been able to get over, is because wherever they come from, they produce some sort of vice. So when you talk about people that come from the Caribbean, they had access to marijuana. They could bring it here on the planes and they sell it for whatever price that they deem it. Same thing with the South Americans. You come from Colombia, you bring some cocaine, you can go back and manufacture it right in your backyard. Look at that. So imagine if I could grow tomatoes in my backyard and the tomatoes was like psychedelic or something. I'd be getting money because I could grow the tomatoes right in my backyard, but I can't do that. Right? So the one thing that we did have control over or had the sway over was the alcohol originally, but we taught it to the white boys. Feel me? And they've made an entire culture out of it. When you talk about NASCAR, you're talking about the fact that they was trying to get away from the police. You feel me? Their entire whole culture is based on them bootlegging this alcohol. You know, the Rockefellers came up off of that. The what you would call it? The Kennedys came up off of that, right? So that's where the generational wealth comes in. Now, the problem is that the thing that we have been most sought after in the world, we have allowed other people to pimp us, which is entertainment. It's entertainment. They never stopped selling black people. They just were selling you to a different market. Can you jump and put the ball in the basket? Can you run and get hit by this dude and fall in the end zone? Can you hit the ball over the gate? Can you sing and dance? You feel me? And so that's where our generational wealth is. We just don't have control over it. You feel me?
Most definitely. We wanted something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, we traded ourselves for it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
Exactly. And so now we mad at a brother who figured out the game and he been selling motherfuckers, but I can't be mad because that's the only way to get out because you ain't gonna sell yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean? Listen, I'm pretty sure Mr. Combs is not a good person. I'm sure. I mean, ain't none of us. You know what I mean? But for me as a young black man, watching him to his ascension, and then to see him fall, and you telling me that this black man ain't been selling drugs, he ain't been. Why are you sending him to jail? What are you talking about? Like, I got a problem with that. You feel me? And I got a problem with the people joyfully watching this lynching.
Right.
They are joyfully. They're like, yeah, let's watch him. Hang him.
Right.
Stone him. You know what I mean? Witchcraft, sorcery, all that crazy shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And so I live in an alternate universe. You could not tell me in '86 when I was watching the Cosby Show that Cliff Huxtable was going to jail. Like, what are you talking about? And nobody thinks that that's odd. Nobody thinks that that's odd. Like, that's just okay. Like, nah. So, back to the spirituality. That's the one thing that we don't have. And that's the one problem that we're going to always have is because when in the foxhole, you ain't going to be good if the Muslims think that you eat pork and you know what I mean? You haram. You ain't going to get along with him. He ain't going to save you. Eat pork. Or whatever little differences, because you have to first have the same, you got to be under the same umbrella of God. You feel me? But unfortunately,
Is that an American construct though, Oba? Because in Sudan, that ain't it. Like I seen it in Sudan, like firsthand. You see what I'm saying? Like that, they got the Muslims and the Christians and everybody over there. And in Sudan, there was an instance when I was in Khartoum, right, the capital in Khartoum, and there was a over there. The Muslims is like utility. You know what I'm saying? In this village, it's utility. It's like, all right. So when people die, the Muslims do the shrouding because they're gonna wash the body. They're gonna make sure everything.
Yeah, they're about the hygiene. Absolutely.
Right. So nobody. That's a craft. You understand for them over there. So they like, all right. The family paid them their money and they just let the Muslims do what they do, right? So it was an issue where one of the cats was like, we ain't doing no more burials for nobody who ain't Muslim. So that's a beef, right? That's a beef for all of 3 seconds. It's three whole seconds, right? They arguing, fussing, fighting. Oh, but I seen that juju man come out and say, everybody pull out your juju back. The Muslim, the Christian, the whoever, whatever it was, everybody pulled out that juju bag. He said, bury him. And that was the end of it. So
right.
I want to know, is that an American construct, Eurocentric construct? Because it don't exist everywhere in regards to the tit for the tat. That I didn't see that shit in Baghdad. I'm in Baghdad. This shit ain't happening in fucking Baghdad. You know what I'm saying?
You see the other thing that what they recognize is the culturalization. See, because the juju is first, and they never left it. And when you understand that the three major religions are really just what you would call unions. They're trade unions, right? So their spirituality comes first before their policy. Now, we live the same way here in the United States of America. Because if you come here and you Hindu, you be on some November 20-something going to eat some turkey. You feel me? The fuck know nothing about no niggas be over there saving the cow, but you eat the turkey in November, right? And you letting them put
That's
up
real.
that white snowman in your yard or at the job, right? Because we really don't. So the thing is that the system keeps us at odds with these little nuances, right? But the reality is, so like wherever you live at, your morality should be based on your mortality, right? So like, so if you knew, so like, all right, culturally, if you know that the young dudes on the corner are drinking and smoking, and when the old lady comes by, they're gonna be quiet and they're gonna let her through, then that's not gonna be an issue for you. That's not an issue for you in City Hall, because they're not menacing anything, right? But if some other niggas from another neighborhood come through and be shooting at your kids while they playing in the park, that's a problem. So now all of the people in that area, whatever religion, whatever ethnicity they are, they all got the same goals. Like, I don't want them dudes coming over here shooting at my kids. You feel me? And so we don't acknowledge the common denominators in this society, because as Americans, because you only know it when you go over someplace else and you see an American, and you be like, "Oh shit, what up, son? You know where they got the good McDonald's at, right?" Because the culture, whether you white or black or he's Chinese, he speak English, he's Americanized, you recognize that culturalization. You understand? But for black people, you know, niggas will stop talking to their family members because they done converted to another religion.
Right. That's real.
Niggas will be like, "Oh, I'm talking to them niggas."
Oh, you going to hell?
Yeah.
You going to hell?
You feel me? Niggas ain't talked to their cousin in 30 years because he crit. Like, you know what I mean? Niggas will cut each other off immediately. And so with the spirituality, like I said, my intention was always, I never meant for nobody to be trying to make E5 and go to Orisha. That's later down the line. I wanted black people to get involved in spiritualism. A glass of water and a candle. Honor that which is what allowed you to be here. Period. So that right now you can say that you can't ask nobody in the projects who their great grandmother is. They have no idea if they even knew her name. They know grandma is Nana. They don't know her first name. You feel me? They damn sure don't know none of their great uncles or nothing like that yet. You following me? So it's a disconnection with our support system, which is our spiritual foundation. You know, they say they dead all the time. Now, I still have the conundrum of the Washingtons, because I ain't never met no white people named Washington, but that's either here or there, right? I ain't never met no pilgrim with the last name Washington. Not one.
Yeah.
Feel me? I know a bunch of niggas with that last name, but I don't know no pilgrims, right? But regardless, they still put their names on the streets, on their buildings, X, Y, and Z. Yeah, okay. Now, we're not going to be able to effectively do that until we're in power, right? You know, what was it? Sonny Carson and them had a great effect in the hoods where they changed certain boulevards to Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X and all that. You know, and that was good for that time. Now those places are gentrified. Ain't nothing but a bunch of pilgrims that's about to change the names back anyway. Right? You see that,
and they're under the signs too. Like, they're under the signs when they're doing it now. So it's still, yeah.
So we gotta learn to understand. So the thing about the spirituality is that it will reinforce some of the morals that we lost, right? The problem is that everybody, you could be on the world black and white and good and evil and all that, but you got to remember that things have to exist, but they just have to exist under some sort of scrutiny and regulation. You know what I mean? Drill music shouldn't be made by kids, and it shouldn't be listened to by children. Period. You know what I'm saying? It's just not. It's in the wrong hands with the wrong people. You know what I mean? Because like you, as a soldier, like that. Some of that music might put you in the right mood when you going out. You out there in the war, right? You talking about you spinning the block and making it. You need something, to, you know what I'm saying, to motivate you, right? So it has a purpose, but it doesn't belong. Like I said, Molly Percocet was never meant to have been on the radio. It should be in the juke joint, and the children shouldn't know it because it's not a part. I never enjoyed no Millie Jackson records. I was too young. That shit wasn't being played when I was up. They wait till we go to sleep. So I don't know any of that shit. So time and space and compartmentalizations, and that's what rules and regulations are for, to create a line, be like, all right, you could do all that bullshit over there. You feel me? And then you understand that if you go over there and you get mugged, you got to deal with their laws because you shouldn't have been over there because we know don't be going over there.
That's
You
right.
know what I'm saying? But we live in a society where everybody, because of a generation of spot children that were told not to be beaten and not to be chastised, they don't have no limitations. And so they want to touch everything. They want to go everywhere. They want to talk to everybody without consequences. You feel me?
That's real. So you get a situation like a Yusuf Hawkins and so many others. We don't look at it. We look at it like, oh, okay, this is what. What was you doing over there? What were you doing over there?
When I saw the real thing that happened to Trayvon Martin, I had to alleviate George Zimmerman of that hate. He didn't do nothing wrong. Boy was trying to knock his head off. He reached for his gun. I would clap him too. And the fact that he only gave him one, like, we got to stop putting, like, because I'm going to be honest with you. Ain't no pilgrim ever pulled no pistol on me and took no money from me. Ain't no pilgrim ever tuned me up. And you know what I'm saying? No. Not at all. You know what I mean? In fact, and this is not to be an asshole, it's not to be a jerk or to be contrary to nothing. No, it's just the reality. This is my experience. Even when I was locked up, I didn't have pilgrims give me game. Give me game that I can still use to this day. Mm-hmm. You heard? One day I was in a facility. I had tuned up a couple people. They had pepper sprayed me and all that. It was melee. I had the zip ties on me. I'm sitting there, my eyes burning, my face feel like it's on fire. White boy comes spray me down. He's like, yo, if I cut you loose, you're gonna be cool, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, for real, man. Like, yo, you out of control. I was like, nah, I'm cool. He cut the zip ties off me. He was like, yo, you're a tough son of a bitch. But he was like, yo, check this out. Understand that when we show up, the one who's out of control is the one that we're gonna put in control. If you relax and fall back, most times we won't even notice you. And he said that to me, and I've lived by that. I've had situations where the police roll up and I'm talking, and I was like, you know what, you got it. And as soon as I said that and I'm slinked out the way, they didn't even see me no more. Right? Because it's an understanding of power, and I have to take the advice from somebody that is in power, not from a nigga that don't have no power. You feel me? So I need to figure out how to maneuver through these circumstances. So, you
go to what's out of place versus what's in place. What's in place with everything else is You don't see it. You see what's out of place.
Look, at this age, I make a decision about where I'm going and what I'm going to do. So if I'm going in a certain area, I'm not fit to be blowing no weed and speeding and doing anything, because I understand that I'm in a zone right now where they're looking for that. You know what I'm saying? And so I move appropriately. You know, when the police come up, my nigga, unless you got 100 pounds or something in there, then you shouldn't be pulling over. And so you should be running, right? So it shouldn't be no conversation. You know what you got in your car. You know, be realistic about your circumstances. Understand that, yeah, we are the ones who they look for to be moving the stuff, because that's the reality of it. So when they pull you over, you got to comply or you could die. And until you get into a position of power, then you can't complain about that. You just got to go with, I mean, like, you know, everybody was like, Black Lives Matter. And I was like, yeah, but I remember they shot Sean Bell 50 times.
That's right.
I've been to the block on Wheeler where they killed Amadou Diallo. They put bullet holes in his bottom of his feet. What do I expect from them? I don't expect nothing from them. So when they roll up and they got the power, I comply. If it inconveniences me, so what? Because I understand that this is the circumstances that I was born in. You feel me? You know, it be a lot of things.
And grow up with stick up. So that's what it is. They ain't never seen that shit up close.
Yeah, you never seen nobody get mugged. You never walked into a grocery store and there was a holdup going on. Like,
Yeah.
So, you know, like I look at how they respond to that, and a lot of it is because of these millennials. They don't really interact with nobody. They've been on the internet with their whole life. They've been watching TV. They think everything is resolvable in 30 minutes. And at the end of the show, it's going to be resolved. Like, nah, shit ain't like that. You know what I mean? So that they're having issues right now when they're debating with people about what is the nature of gender and all that. And it's just like, what are you talking about? You sound crazy. One is one and one is the other. It's a clear indication. Just because something does something else, don't make it that. You feel me? If I put a badge on and a uniform and you run up to me and ask me to help you, just because I'm dressed like that don't mean I can help you. You feel me? Sir, they just robbed me. I'd be like, well, terrible. Call 911. You look at me like I'm crazy. This nigga dressed like a police officer. You tricked me. Right. Yeah. You feel me? And that's the reality. If you want to be a girl, do that shit on your own time. When somebody that is going to participate in this fantasy with you. So when y'all come in your little room, you could put the girl clothes on, you could talk like a lady, and you could be a lady. But life says that you gotta handle some other business, and I want to see you come in here dressed like a lady, because there's no reason for that. What you do on your own time is knock yourself out. Knock yourself out. But don't force me to have to believe in your fantasy. Because if you do that, then you're gonna give me the reason to say that I'm not black. I'm white, and I feel like I should get motherfucking alone because I am white. I am trans ethnic. And my credit should be better than this.
My shit should be 800. Yeah,
I was born a white man with all of this craziness. No. What are you talking about? And so you be like, yo, you feel like you in Bizarro world because niggas trying to pull a fast one on you. Niggas trying to pull a Jedi mind trick on you or some Mr. T shit. Heard you talking about me. No, you didn't. Maybe I didn't. Like, nah, son. What you talking about? Slow down. What are you talking about? What? Nah, homie. And listen, again, certain things, they say that you shouldn't necessarily, you shouldn't entertain people with how much money you make, right? Who you voted for, and how you like it in the bed. Because there are people with all kinds of sexual proclivities, and they find somebody that will suit them. And those people are not normally the people that be breaking up. They be married forever. It's a dude that cannot get it up unless he put on the rabbit's head. He put the rabbit head on, he'd be ready to go, right? And he done found a woman that is cool with that every time. She's like, all right, buddy, give it to me, right? So if you went to the party and they did some things that you didn't like, then you shouldn't go back. Right? If you go back, then it says that you think it's okay to do that. You understand?
That's
and
it.
if it's the only way
Trick
that
or
you're gonna
treat.
get around, yeah.
Trick or treat. Yeah,
Yo,
that shit was bugged. That shit was bugged to me, right? I was like, all right, you tell your children, don't lie, and then you lie to them about the holidays. You tell them don't talk to strangers, and then you take them to strangers' house to go get candy and shit like that. Like you really bugging the fuck out. Like, all right, so once a year, once a year, this is okay. This is okay. Like once a year, this is okay. This is okay. All right, they teeth fall out. You be like, oh, the tooth fairy. Like, nah, you ain't say, Mom Duke worked 12 hours to put this money under your pillow. You understand? It's like, oh,
right.
Some dude climbed down the chimney we don't have. Like, just crazy.
We've never had to deal with that. We've always had the truth. Yeah. My mama was like, look, well, we didn't even know nothing about no Santa Claus. We was getting the Zwadi and the Ghouls of Sabas, right? Mm-hmm. Niggas was getting Zwadi. First couple of years, we was getting something that somebody made, right?
Right.
And then my grandmother was like, all right, I'm going to go spend some money, you know what I mean, with the system because y'all want to be, because I want y'all to stay up with the Joneses because you don't want to go to school and you ain't got no He-Man. You be looking crazy. It's like, you ain't getting no He-Man. It's like you a weirdo, right? And don't try to bring me no Sun Man. I don't want that. You try to play with me, you feel me? Don't do that to kids. Let them, participate in the hierarchy of their social, groups. You know what I mean? With a purpose and an intention. I can tell you that we were so poor that a nigga do good at school and then they don't get nothing. Or the jig is up. So now I'm not even gonna put that pressure on you. I'm not asking. Feel me? And I have to give it up to those parents at that time because them certain shit, them motherfuckers knew what it was. You didn't buy that game system. you didn't buy that game system.
That's real.
Let's not press the issue. I went to go get it. Now this new generation are handicapped. They have no ambition. They have no get up and go. If they're not trying to scam you out some money or take it from you, they don't understand how to get it. You feel me?
That's it.
Because they don't have
Florida Evans said on Good Times to the Family, she said, we got through the crisis when you ain't even know it was the crisis. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so this goes to our conversation the other day about it's not the poverty, it's the violence. Right? So you have to put into perspective all of the variables that made that time what it was. So you have people let out of insane asylums and they're roaming the streets and they have no medication. And all of a sudden, a cheap form of cocaine becomes available, right? that shit make you forget about everything. So now, between the dope and the coke, you can go up or you can go down. Now you have these crazy people who are doing things, and it becomes a crazy people's contest. That everybody's trying to be out crazy the next person. That has become the psychology of our people at this point. That I'm just gonna out crazy you. You feel me? So that the violence starts, and so once you commit violence against another human being, selling drugs and stealing is not that hard to do. It's not hard. It's once you've drawn blood from another human being, it's everything else is out the window. Because violence is the ultimate. And so once you've been indoctrinated with the violence, now selling something because somebody came to get it from you, you didn't force it on them. It's easy. That doesn't even bother your moral compass. It doesn't sway it, right? Stealing, I didn't tune you up for it. I didn't pull a gun on you. Then you be all right. And so you begin to necessarily justify these things, right? Within the social structure of the people, that it's all good, man. You getting over. But then it starts to bleed into getting over on each other. You feel me? So now everybody's getting over on everybody. And so because everybody's getting over on everybody, you can't trust nobody. So how can you unify when you don't trust nobody? Because you've been given a mentality of getting over. And getting over means that you just above the other niggas. I got less oppression than you do. My clothes is better than yours. My crib is a little cleaner. You know what I'm saying? You a bum. Oh shit. So what do? I got to pull somebody down to get up. It's real simple. You feel me? So it's the violence that it invites all the other sins in. You know what I mean? And now we have a society where they're numb to it. They think it's okay to just hurt people. You know what I mean? Without looking at, because first of all, young boys are not ever supposed to have access to the guns and the drugs that they have access to today. And back in my day, I should have never known how to find a pistol at 13, 14 years old. That shit is a bad sign of a failed community. That at 13, I could find, first of all, I could get enough money to get the gun and then find somebody that'll give it to me. Right? So you got these kids that they could scam on the internet and get a couple $1,000 and they won't get their mom enough or take out the trash. Look at that. It ain't like they like, yo, mama, here go 10 grand, go figure out how to get us a house or something. They ain't doing that. They taking that money, they buying high-end clothes, they getting high, and they buying guns. So, again, there's no morality even in the poverty. There used to be a time when people still had some kind of dignity in their poverty. You know? But you don't see that today because it's an overwhelming ideal of take, consume, right? And no sight of future. Yo, my backyard is like the projects for the squirrels, I promise you. They be back here squabbling, all kinds of shit. Yeah, we back here going crazy.
Shit.
Word.
So before we get too far, the election protection. I need to know what you working with over there. I need the breakdown and the backstory.
So the idea is that you get your reading before the decision drops, so that you know what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Some people gonna be good if they just sit still. Some people need to get gone. You know what I mean? People need to rearrange some shit around. You know what I mean? And also it's to prevent one from isolating oneself, because all of that, again, all of that banter, you get to stop talking to family members because of their politics, and that shit is not really cool. You know what I mean? Like, this is why they said that you don't talk politics and religion at the dinner table. You feel me? We're here to break bread. And so some people might put themselves into a position where you can got rid of family members and friends because they had a different perspective. And they have their right to have their perspective, because where they're standing, they can only see from where they're standing. Right? They're not in your position. Some people will be willing to trade places for a moment. Be like, all right, let me see what it is over there. But most of the time, people have their right because they can only. It's like being in a situation where a fight breaks out. Depending on where you were standing at and how much attention you were paying to what was going on, depends on your perception of how the fight went down. You feel me? If you looked up and the dude in the red shirt was beefing with the other guy, but 2 minutes before that you didn't see that the other guy was, you know what I'm saying, mushing him, then you're going to have a different perspective. You're going to be like, nah, the dude with the red shirt started it. Nah, you're wrong. You didn't see it. There was too many things impeding your line of sight for you to see it clearly. Right? But it's still your experience. It's still the vantage point in which you saw it. You feel me? But now when you get to arguing with somebody that was like, yo, I was standing right next to the guy with the red shirt, now you're an idiot. You feel me? You're an idiot. Oh, no, I was standing right next to him. He said this to him, and this is how the shit happened. You feel me? That's the problem. People be standing from where they are, saying that that's the truth because it's their truth. But you weren't in the mix. You just standing from where you at. You know?
All right. So how do they book? Are you booking? You booked up?
Yeah, they got to go to
Okay.
onlydinaproductions@gmail. You know what I'm saying? They got to hurry up before, we get into November. And my wife will, my administrator, she'll tell you what the cutoff time is before, you know what I mean? But yeah, it's election protection, just to get you a head start. If this shit go all bad, then you know how to, you know what I mean? And I'm not prophesizing, it's going to be him or her. I fucking know. I don't care. It's not going to change anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I am clear that because I ain't voting. I ain't voted since I think the first time Clinton was in, and I just went in there because that's what they told me to do. I wasn't, I just going along to get along. I haven't voted since then.
People, there are people now that's like, who's Clinton? Who's that? They don't even know who you talking about.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And they pass voting age. Like there's people in the country that's old enough to be the president that don't know shit about the country.
No, that's a whole fact.
Yeah. So if you missed the Reagan and you just was born in that Clinton or that time right there, you missed everything. You missed all the shit. You missed everything.
Yeah, you don't know how wicked
the whole America.
You have no idea. You don't know the analog was a different time. A whole different time. Like, you know what I mean? And the history of things. See, so I do history. My mother was a history buff, and so was my father. You got to understand that every empire has about 500-600 years. We're only about 200 and some change. Okay? We ain't going nowhere. Not for a minute.
Not even 200 and a half. Like, that is,
yeah. We got about 300 years to get, you know what I'm saying, before shit get really out of hand. Know that. That's just if you study time history, you understand the timelines of empires, right? So we got about 300 years before all of this. That's how I'm worried about it. They be like, "Oh, the money's gonna fall apart." I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like you need the penny. They tried to get rid of the penny. They figured out they couldn't do that shit because you still need a point, right? So I don't get caught up with the hysteria. You know what I mean? Now if I had a choice, I'm gonna always, well, not always, but in this instance, we just gotta compare records, homie. Like when he was the president, I wasn't struggling like this. It's just the bottom line. Like before they came with the whole pandemic thing, everything was kind of good. Like nigga was paying his rent, nigga was getting a couple dollars. You know what I'm saying? Shit was good. My other problem is for a woman to ascend to that position, then especially with all of this liberalism, you're gonna have to change some things. So you're gonna have to put women on the front lines. You don't get to necessarily send nobody's son to war if you never had to be on the front line. Straight like that. Feel me? And that becomes the backfire to the conversation of this whole abortion thing. They're like, "Oh, how's a man gonna tell a woman what to do with her body?" The same way the government tell your son to go to war when he's 18 and the nigga ain't even been to the club yet. He hadn't had a drink or been to the club yet, but you could send him to war, and you okay with that. So don't tell me about
automatically registered at 17.
Oh, and they'll send you to jail.
Right, yeah. Before he could sign for himself, he couldn't even choose it at 17, but he already registered at 17.
I was in the can when I turned 18. I came home one day, they had some selective service thing in the mail talking about they was gonna give me 5 years if I ain't report. I was like, what? I was like, man, I was in the can. They was like, all right, we'll bring your ass on down here anyway. You feel me? So I don't see how your ability to just be killing babies like that, like they gotta be a little bit of more discernment. Like, you just gonna let everybody shoot the club up? Everybody can shoot the club up, and then you just be dumping them off like the V-bombers or something like that? Nah, son. You gotta have a little bit more responsibility. So maybe they do need to tighten that shit up a little bit so that you ain't going there and you ain't had 10 of them shits in your lifetime. You feel me?
While your husband fighting for the country.
Right, while your husband fighting for the country. You understand? Like, so it's just not a comparison. So to my sisters, yeah, that's cool, but you know, like they said, when the intruder come in the house, you're not going downstairs first. And until you can rectify that, we ain't got nothing to talk about. Because if I'm supposed to give my life to save yours, my nigga, you're going to have to submit. That's just the bottom line. I don't care about all of that independent sister stuff. If you want somebody to protect you, to put my life on the line, then you don't get to necessarily be talking back to me. Straight like that. Because if the intruder come, go ahead, here go the hammer, baby. Go handle that. You John Wick. You John Wick.
John Wick.
You John Wick, go out there and kill them all, huh?
As the cop said, he came to the house, he said, you working again,
Yo,
John?
listen. My man told me a story about some niggas he knew that ran up on a dude, and the dude, they took the nigga in the crib, and the dude baby mama started firing on everybody. She shot the boyfriend and the robbers. You heard? She just gave it to everybody. Hold that.
That's it.
Stand down, right? So
that's it.
Until that conundrum of in the relationship as a man and a woman, when the intruder's knock on the door, you gonna pick up the sketel and go out there first? Then I'll listen to all you got to say, baby girl. You's a gangster. You John Wick, like I said. Go out there and get the killing them and shit, right? Fuck out of this.
Some of these suckers hiding in the closet though, Oba. Some of them they running in the closet like, you go do it. Tell them I ain't here.
And you should handle them accordingly. You feel me? Don't let them be talking crazy to you like that. And don't let them be talking crazy to me like that. Feel me? Be a bunch of men out here talking stupid till you tune them up. Like, yo, son, you ain't had a fight since the 3rd grade. You better be cool. Yeah.
Right.
What's this
your chin is not like that. Your ribs, they're not like that.
At all. You are a fucking teddy bear, my nigga. Pipe down there, Slim. Who you talking to like that? You know what I'm saying? Right. So, yeah, the election protection, man, it's about, like I said, getting yourself, I tell people, you check in with me, you might not necessarily have to see your motherfucking lawyer on retainer. You feel me? I'm going to give you a heads up about some things that you might not even been thinking about, or been thinking that these things would impede you from whatever next ascension that you're trying to make. And that's what spiritual hygiene and healthcare is about. You don't wait till you're sick to go to the doctor. You go get a checkup so that you see something that you could prevent it from becoming a problem, right? Now, like I said, so like for the election protection, I'm only charging $74 because I charge $200 over the phone because this shit ain't easy. But in the $74, you get some. I'm gonna read you and I'm gonna give you some compound things that you need to take care of. It's not gonna be a conversation. This is just gonna give you some things that you could look at and be like, all right, and you should be able to associate with them. Like, yo, yeah, I got this kind of behavior and it could lead to that, or I've been working too hard at X, Y, and Z, right? Because I'm giving a little, that's my charitable way of, giving up something every once in a while. Because I used to deal in welfare witchcraft, but I'm not with that no more. Because people don't know
that shit. I remember that shit.
I remember that shit. Niggas be, you know what I mean? They be like, oh, I'm going to pay you. And they don't pay because they don't value it. And my thing is, I charge $200 on the phone because that's not my custom. I charge $100 in person. So if you're in my vicinity, you come and get the $100 reading. $100, $200, I see niggas blow that at Chuck E. Cheese. Okay?
Right. That's a bag of groceries. A bag of groceries. You don't even have to double bag by the time you check out. You like and they charge you for the bag.
You might not even get some shit that match. You might just got the jelly and not the peanut butter with $200 today. Fuck you mean?
You're making a serious decision. You got both of your hand like
you got the turkey with no cheese. Right. You know what I'm saying? You got the eggs with no motherfucking sausages. You just got half for $200. So
you in line putting shit back like nah, man. Fuck.
Yeah. So I charge that much because that's not the custom. Because the remote reading is not the custom, but I accommodate people in the new age and in the circumstances. Cool. If you're around me, you get the reading is $100. That should not, like, you go to the doctor, the co-payment, my nigga, unless you got some good insurance, you know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing. So, and it's not a novelty. This is something that, so this is why you have clerical people. If you live in a capitalist society or an industrial society and you constantly on the move, you play the cleric to talk to God and fix your problems with God because you don't have the time. Straight like that. You don't have the time. You feel me? You gotta motherfucking till your soil or tend to your crops or, fill out those emails and do that PowerPoint. You don't have time to dedicate to meditating with God and figuring out what it is to see oneself and then examine oneself. So this is what you pay me for, right? Now, You got to be the golden child for you to be initiated 4 or 5 years, and you telling me you out here helping other people. You need to be studying a whole lot more. You feel me? It take longer than that to be a dentist. You heard? And so you ain't just gonna be telling me you got initiated last year and now you doing readings. Man, go unalive yourself. Fuck out of here, you heard? Go unalive yourself, man. Go with that nonsense.
Happy M. Nappy said, what is a reading?
What is a reading? A reading is a consultation.
Tell my homie stay out my notes, man. I was about to ask that question. Don't stay out my notes, yo.
You have to pay. You have to put him on the production team in a minute. But
where he at? I gotta give him a wrench. That's New York. Is that New York in there? That's New York over here.
Yeah.
All right. Make my job easy. Shit.
But a divination, a consultation. So you have different types of divinations. You have people that can give you a clairvoyant conversation. They can see something, and they can come to some sort of understanding about what's about to happen to you. You have some people that do like divination by tarot card. The one thing I say about this is this don't cater to what you think you came for. So you think you got a problem with your girlfriend, and they like your breath stink, my nigga, and you need to get that together because that's why she don't like you no more, right? And so it'd be a little bit too real for motherfuckers sometimes because they don't like to have to deal with self-reflection. You feel me? Because you're looking for an outside thing to put your problems on, right? And the other problem is a lot of people come to get the divination and they think they Neo. And they're like, oh, and the gods was waiting for me to be born, and the thunder and the lightning came, and the sky turned purple. And be like, nah, son. And like the dude asked me last night, how you fulfill your destiny. My thing is, as my uncle used to say, 9 times out of 10, if you knew what your destiny was, you wouldn't go nowhere near it. You know what I mean? Again, who wants to be Judas? Because somebody had to play that role in that script. Right? Somebody got to play that role for him to be who he is essentially to this day with one of the most popular niggas next to Michael Jackson. You know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ. Right on, right?
Michael
Somebody
Jackson,
had to...
Jesus Christ, and Muhammad Ali. That's it.
So somebody has to play their role, and sometimes, and so if you believe in God, right, and you believe that God has a purpose, and this is all theater, are you going to read your lines? You know what I mean? Now, the thing about this is the interceding of other cultural concepts has touched certain chambers in my traditions, especially the Ifa tradition, right? And they start imposing these Abrahamic philosophies on shit that ain't got nothing to do with them, right? So that there was a time that Ifa sit there and tell you, they'd be like, yo, you got a bad head, my nigga, you here to cause destruction. Rock on, carry on. You know what I mean? Just, understand that there's a road that got your name on it. You know what I mean? Now they be trying to make everybody like everything, like I said, because the Abrahamic faiths have bullied their way into so much of everything that now you got these Ifa boys from even in Nigeria, and they're gonna tell you about some Iwa Pele, and I'm like, your country is a mess. What good character are you talking about? Right? Because the real Yoruba philosophy is that the universe all of this is a giant market. And in the market, everything is happening. People are getting pickpocketed, they're getting mugged, they're getting swindled, they're lying to you about the eggs that you're buying. Everybody got the best thing and this, all that. It's all theatrics. Right? And if you understand that Africans, especially West Africans, they don't respect you if you don't know how to haggle. If you go in their market and just give them what they ask for, they be like, he's a dummy. They're going to say something to the next thing. Oh, he's a dummy. Yeah, charge him.
Got him. Got him.
Because he's a dummy. Because if you don't haggle, if you don't have no oomph about you, no fight in you, then you don't deserve to be here. You heard? So now you got everybody talking all of this computer business. Everything is a download and everybody's a non-player character. I ain't no non-player character. For me, I will beat you up and rob you. Stop playing with me. If this is GTA, you better stop playing with me. I'm gonna knock your block off and take your car. I ain't no NPCs. Don't get it twisted. Right? So, some people are here to cause, cause havoc. That's their job. You know what I mean? And so that when you understand choice, see, because these are concepts that be going over people's heads and they be chasing their tails, right? When you finally submit to the concept of omnipresence and omnipotence, right? Of the omni, in all things, right? So that you understand that God is in the good, the bad, and the ugly. Somebody got to do that foul shit for you to respect that, not to let that happen again. You feel me? And most times, you'd be surprised that those people that do those heinous things are really God's favorite. Because they did what you ain't got the minerals to do. You say you love God, but if God showed up and gave you some bad, details to pull off, you'll get the complaining and crying. Why me? And that's the reality of it. So when you're talking about spiritualism and all of this light and love and divine feminine and all that, you already know that that's a hoax. Because if you can't speak about one without the other, God is not a person, place, or a thing. It is a family. You feel me? It is a family. And so, we get into the divine feminine and all of that male bashing nonsense. And again, if all of this shit gets to turning out to some Walking Dead shit, I bet you all of them women gonna wish they had a man in the house. Because if they go from house to house and be like, bring your women out, you're not gonna want to live that type of thing. You're gonna want some law and order around this month. Feel me? Right? So be careful what you ask for. Because people be talking all of this anarchy business, taking over this and taking over that. Who's gonna turn the lights on? You go through a storm and them niggas got you sitting there in the dark. You looking stupid. You can't get down the street because there's a tree down and you can't make it. What you gonna do then? Feel me? So I want to see the lesbians. I want to see them remove the tree from the road and all that. Let them get their little group together and move the tree, put the power back on. Talking stupid. Talking stupid. Yeah. Oh, we don't need men. Okay, well, go ahead. Move the tree then, stupid. Figure that one out. You're so smart. Feel me? How many of y'all gonna come out here in the rain and pull that tree out the way? You know what I'm saying? So the spirituality, like I said, it's not that complicated. All of this thinking that you God and all that, then you better not complain. If you God, then fix your situation then. Right? You can't tell me that. Oh, I'm God. Okay, then fix your situation. Don't complain. You definitely don't ask to borrow no money from me, God. You want to borrow a couple dollars. I thought you sent
Right.
Moon in the stars, man. Get to making some paper.
Make it rain, man. Shit.
Yeah, man, make it rain. Don't drizzle, make it rain. Then clear it out. Talking about. You God. All right, son. Feel me? Then you want to get to people that don't want to be. So understand that this tradition has never had any history of trying to convert people on some missionaryism. Like, we ain't trying to convert nobody. But the problem is that people want to take what they want and they want to use the parts that they feel are comfortable to them. So Oshun and Ogun, the god of war and the warrior spirit of the black man and all that sound real cool. But you don't understand the mechanism psychologically that are in place within the thing to guard those things. So that you understand that the icons become places for one to compartmentalize those parts of himself that are not applicable in his circumstance. I can't be a warrior spirit at the factory. They're going to fire me. I'm going to starve to death. I need to know how to put that warrior spirit in away and let this little funny pilgrim talk crazy, right? And then once in a while, I'm going to check him like, yo, you didn't have to talk to me like that. I'm just doing my job. But enough to know that he's still in power and don't be pushing this to the ledge because you're going to fall, right? And so these traditions, people, they don't understand things, and it's unfortunate that the literal word has become the standard for intelligence, right? So I'll tell you this: the Twa was popularly known as the pygmy. Is said to be able to identify something like 25 to 3,500 plants by sight. He knows their medicinal and their poisonous properties. But he don't write no fucking books. Okay? Now, for all of the historian people that want to go we fact check and all that, well, fact check this. Writing and arithmetic didn't come to the world until after grain was introduced to the world. And that's why you start to see people writing on the walls, because they're keeping record of the grain. Because grain is not easily antiquated, right? You can't just get, like with corn, I could give you 10 kernels of corn in the equivalent to something else, right? And you got 10 times to plant that corn and have more corn grow. But rice, wheat, all of these grains that started to become manufactured, you cannot antiquate them. They must be measured. And so in them being born to scale came writing and arithmetic, and writing is directly associated to the numbers, because the original letters are all antiquated to a number, right? And so when you understand that, when grain came into the world, then people began to create baskets, right? And there was a whole industry. And this brought the world into the written world, which had nothing to do with history and had nothing to do with theology. It had everything to do with commerce, right? Writing and arithmetic is only relevant in commerce, because when you try to write a story, you're only writing it from your perspective. You feel me? And you don't allow the story to grow. It has too many constraints once it is put into the literal form. And so this is why in the ancient times, they did not have writers, but they had griots. They had storytellers, right? And to appeal to the psychology of each one of the listeners, right? The the written word is transfixed, and there is a mysticism to it, where there are some books that have secret passages in them, right? That you can read a book and it can give you extra pages of understanding, and then you go back and those pages don't exist. You feel me? Yeah, this is the website right here. And so again, I'm not a Johnny come lately. I was, you know what I mean, talking all that Black Power RBG stuff from the very beginnings of my inception. Yeah, I didn't just find out about this. And so when I'm arrogant about these concepts, it is so because, again, I got a 20, 30 years head start on most of the people talking about this stuff. For 30 years, you did not know that this existed. You had no idea. You didn't know one from the other. You couldn't tell the difference between hoodoo, voodoo, Santeria, Ifa, nothing. You just know that them people was weird, right? So understand that now we have a responsibility for, not everybody is supposed to be a missionary. Who gave you that task? See, because I was ordained. See, there's a difference. I was initiated and then had a divination done to talk about my future, and then I was ordained by my elders by way of being taught the certain ways and being taught how to do certain things. So, and like I said, before anybody else was on the internet talking about any of this with any legitimacy, there was nobody before me. You might have had some documentaries that went around from some of my elders, but wasn't nobody interfacing with the people talking about any of this and demystifying all of this stuff. You feel me? Oh, that's the coloring book right there. If you don't go get the coloring book, you're a hater. Yeah. You're a hater. If you don't go get a coloring book, you're a hater. Feel me? They would tell me nothing about, oh, no, you're a hater. If you don't go get a coloring book, give it to the kids. And that's for the children, right? And I be coming off as the spokesperson for the Lukumi concepts, but it's because I don't believe in people having to go to extend themselves to Nigeria. And there's a couple of issues that come with that. First, you are submitting to a hierarchy that has not contributed to your liberation. I don't know of any Nigerian militias that ever came to the United States to help Black Americans do anything. And in contrast, for those that say, oh, well, you went and got that Cuban and Spanish stuff, I will say that Cuba is the only country that has ever sent troops to assist an African country in a conflict.
Mm-hmm.
So, as one of my elders said, after he was initiated to E5 in Yoruba land, he was like, they was all in the courtyard and drinking and having a good time, and he asked them, if this divination system is so perfect, how y'all ain't see the white boy coming? And then, how come you never sent the boat to come get us? So my interest is not in some place where somebody may have compromised me or my ancestors. I have no allegiance to that. You feel me? And anybody that thinks that I should is definitely tripping. Right.
So let's talk about the books. Since right here we just showed them.
Well, glass of water in the candle is it's a repertory instrument. It's not something that you're just gonna read. It's not a novel. It's not a quick instruction book. It's something that you're gonna go back to and use as a reference. And what it does is it tries to give you a clear understanding of the practices and why they're done, and an intelligent discussion about why certain things are performed and how the mechanisms how they perform, right? And there's some concepts that I brought to the table that now everybody uses these as basis for their conversation, but they didn't exist before I wrote this manuscript. And one of them is the idea that all religion is ancestral worship. Nobody had ever articulated or come to that understanding before I wrote this book. That is, you believe in Jesus Christ and he lived and died, then you believe in ancestors. If you believe in Abraham, Muhammad, Sid Arthur, Moses, any one of the prophets or of these people of great concern, if they lived and died, then you are venerating an ancestor. And so all religion is based off of ancestral worship, and that's the bottom line. And so if you want to be your God, own God body and all that, then that's fine, but you still have to acknowledge that which preceded you.
Right.
And so I gave up what was never articulated in English to African traditional practitioners, because this information or this mechanism or conduit of thought was kind of reserved for Spanish speaking people, right? And at some point, African Americans became despondent with it because of its in small attachments to concepts of the Abrahamic faith. And so people get to, because they, when the people that originally converted these traditions come out of children that went to Catholic school, right? And then were indoctrinated with Christianity and its hypocrisy. And so they rejected anything that had to do with it, kind of zealously. And so spiritualism became a neglected component of the Lukumi experience. So they would have a little seance for you right before they initiated you, and then that was the end of that. And then having traveled to Cuba and been initiated in Cuba, I saw the difference of how they utilized the spiritualism to really hone in on the real meticulous things about people's personalities, right? To assist the person in overcoming these with other places people will call demons and jinns and different things, how to have some power over these desires. You understand? And spiritualism does not require, number one, the money that it requires for initiation into other more devoted faiths, such as the Lukumi and Ifa and all that, where you have to devote yourself to an extent. Spiritualism don't require any money. It requires the very basic potluck of a group. Somebody brings some flowers, somebody bring a bottle of rum, somebody brings some rice, somebody else brings some food, somebody brings some cigars, somebody brings some perfume. Like everybody brings something, you sit down. They might even have to bring chairs and participate in a non-hierarchy, because there's no hierarchy. It's just based on who's most proficient there, right? And so that, and also in case there's the fact that it is not a cultural explosion, right? You don't have to go through a culture shock. You essentially are coming into understanding these prayers from this Christian format, right? But the prayers are now not so much exalted at Jesus, but at specific spirits that they come and they communicate with you, right? To give you a cheat code of the time of what the next 3 months might hold ahead of you. Like, okay, so that there have been times when people have missed certain things, phenomena like hurricanes and things of that nature, because they had a misa. They was like, listen, it's time to go. It's not going to be here. Okay, and then they go and check with something else, and it's like, yeah, that shit is time to go, right? And so I saw this thing being neglected, and one day I think I was on Ambassador Asar's show. Remember, they used to be on Blog Talk.
Yeah.
So I was on Ambassador Asar's, and somebody asked me about the tradition, and it was like in the sticks somewhere, like Wisconsin or North Dakota, some crazy shit. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how I could get you. And if you're struggling financially, a plane ticket and all that ain't gonna ain't gonna help you out. You can use that to feed yourself. You feel me? So they left me with this conundrum of what can I do to assist the people. And then from some long nights of conversation with one of my elders, one of my uncles, and he was like, "Man, give people spiritualism. Everybody don't need to believe in Orisha. It's too much of a culture shock." He was like, "But everybody can believe in grandma." And so these conversations with him deeply affected me. Now, to the credit of one of my cousins, he was the one that told me to write a book about all of this. In the beginning, he was like, "Just write a 100-page book." And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Yeah, man, write a book." And I was like, "Okay." And for a while, I impeded myself because there was people that I wanted to interview, and you know what I mean. But I would only get little sound bites out of them. And then I began to tell them what my intention was, and they was like, "All right, we'll go ahead and write the book." And I was like, "You sure?" They was like, "Yeah, you know what the fuck to do. You know how it goes." So then that was my, like I said, being ordained to have the right to speak on it. Like, all right, go ahead, we got you, right? And so I wrote the book so that it would be a manifesto for specifically Black people who've been disenfranchised, a way for them to connect with their spiritual courts and be able to raise the vibrations. And so with the least amount of, because the most important thing that you do when you engage in spiritualism is the sacrifice of time and space. You allot a space to the altar and you spend time erecting it and servicing it, maintaining it. These are two things that you give freely that you do not have control over. You don't have control over time nor space. But you give them freely to your ancestors or your spirituality. Now, with that being said, in that same philosophy, one has to also maintain good bedroom hygiene, meaning that you have to make your bed up every day because that's your first altar. That's where you lay your soul at night. And so your bed should be made as a means of appreciation for the time that you spent sleeping on it, and it being that vessel of security and rest for you, right? A lot of people, and when you take things for granted, man, a good bed is a luxurious thing. A lot of people grow up sleeping on couches and on floors, two in the bed, a broken bed, air mattresses. Air mattresses fill a lot of homes right now in the so-called ghetto. You go to somebody's bedroom, they got an air mattress, and that's no slight to them. But that's not living. You know what I mean? And so when you start to invest in yourself like that, where it's like, all right, if I'm gonna go to the gym and all that, I also have to take care of the bed that I sleep in, and I have to invest in that so that I get a good night's rest. You feel me? And so, time and space. So, like I said, you got people that are here, they out here, and they reading tarot cards, and their bed is a mess. Got crumbs in the bed, it ain't made. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the sheets are stained and all kinds of madness with Kool-Aid and human, you know what I'm saying, juice and all kinds of madness, and you getting on the internet talking about somebody. Like, you need to go sit down. You feel me? Cleanliness is close to godliness, straight like that. Has nothing to do with poverty. You feel me? I've been to very poor people's houses that their house was clean. Their bathroom smelled like potpourri. And they only had a little bit of toilet paper. You know what I'm saying? But their shit is hygienic. And so, you know, that's no excuse if that you poor. That's just depression. And those are signs of psychological detriments. You know what I mean? Because even certain animals, they create a sense of aura in their domestication wherever they sleep at. Mm-hmm.
So for those who listening, what are some of the benefits of regaining access ancestrally from that spiritual perspective, spiritualism?
Well, you know, they talk about generational curses.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a chance for sometimes some of the family secrets to be revealed. You know, people go to their grave with certain secrets about certain things. I give you an example. Rashid is my witness. It's one of his people. I was giving one of his people a reading, and they was like, "Yo, there's this connection with your ancestry." And he was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Yo, these spirits that's here with you, some of them don't really belong to you, and there's some other spirits here that's looking for some kind of veneration." And in the midst of the thing, Rashid was like, "Yo, I gotta tell you something, son. That dude you think is your daddy ain't your daddy." And boom, boom, blang, bling, 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 bling. Okay? Okay. So now you get a sense of who you are and why you are a certain way. That, you know, they talk about epigenetics. That shit is real. Like, I could show you in pictures where my daddy do the same. I do the same thing with my head as my daddy do in pictures where I tilt my head to the side, right? And that's unconscious. So if you don't have any view of these idiosyncrasies, then you may be doomed to perform them, right? Or to perform the bad ones. So you have to know that somebody in your family didn't fare well with alcohol, and you might be the guy that got that spirit. That when you get to drinking the alcohol, you turn into somebody else. And before that, you're a sweetheart, but you get a taste of something, and you turn into, you know what I mean, until the hun. So through the way of spiritualism, we're able to compartmentalize these things so that if it is a spiritual thing, we can take that spirit and we can subdue the spirit and have the spirit occupy a specific space in the time, right? The same thing with personality issues, you know, because nobody is singular in their nuances of personality. You're multiplicit in terms of the things that you think about and the different things that you get into. And so spiritualism allows you to make sense of these different personalities so that you understand that you're this way when that spirit is around, so that it gets credence and you can then feed that part of yourself, albeit through aesthetics or information or cultural awareness. You feel me? When I was with, I must have went to the bathroom. There you go.
Yeah, my bad, my bad. Yeah, you know how they do.
Yeah.
So even correcting something like that, like that's a big thing. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. You know, I asked you that a couple of times because that's the reality for many of the people. There's some defect based off of somebody trying to save face, and they say they're gonna tell you when it's time, and their time come before your time. So you just operating out here in error. You operating out here in error, and you harboring resentment and all kinds of things because there's a part of you that you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
You on the path to self discovery. You come with their stuff already. So if you had a deficit with one side of your ancestry, you straight cut off.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So now you're trying to discover an aspect of yourself because folks is like, oh, my purpose, my purpose. Your purpose ain't your own. That shit come from your bloodline. That shit was decided for you. So somebody like, yo, you about to do this shit. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
when you don't have access to your whole being, that's like trying to operate with half of your body working against you. That shit is dormant. You trying to drag along, and you don't have full access to yourself because of somebody else. You see what I'm saying? So even that self-made and all that other shit they be talking about, like, nah, you ain't self-made. Somebody made you. Like, so that shit is wild. But yeah, the part of it is that's a real robbery right there. That's a real robbery when you don't even know who's in your family dynamic. So you'll go find some shit somewhere else and you'll be looking in somebody else's family. So they'll be like, oh, my hero and Shiro is such and such. And oh, forget my uncle. My uncle get high. Like, what? Like, I don't even want to discuss nothing else further with you until you reconcile that right there. You have to reconcile that because you can't tell me, oh, you love Malcolm or you love Garvey and you don't love your mother. That shit's crazy. I tell you, oh, like I ain't never read no shit, I've been everywhere. I ain't never read no shit and been under no system where I came home arguing with my mother about anything. You understand what I'm saying? Like they ain't made a book, they ain't made a woman, a man, a way, or whatever it is, where I ever came home and was like, Ma, you tripping. No, never ever.
Listen, I
So
tell people all the time,
shit's
you know,
whack.
niggas be thinking they good people because they don't rob and steal and sell drugs, right? And I'm like, but you let your mama starve in the house, or
Right.
you
Crazy.
neglect her. You know what I mean? Because
Crazy.
you don't like what she said to you. Um,
Yeah.
like that's out of control. And you know, I'm a man that doesn't have any children, so you know I have to think about my future. Like you know, and I didn't have any because I didn't want to have to worry about whether or not any of them little niggas was gonna do something for me. So I'm very clear that my later years of my life got to be, you know, put together based on my own efforts, right? If I need
Mm-hmm.
somebody to ring the bell and Jeeps coming, change my diaper and all that, then I'm gonna have to get that type of money because I ain't gonna have no kids to do that. And I know some people that got kids that they ain't gonna do that. Cause
Right.
today the kids just like now, call me. You didn't spend enough time for me, or you didn't neglect me enough. You'd be like, what the hell? So, um, you know, it's about necessarily making sure that you good in your later days. You know what
Right.
I mean? But the spirituality of all of this again, it allows you to make some changes in the direction of the ascension of your clan. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So that again, if you got alcoholics or drug addicts in the past, then you know that that's something that if you get a taste of, you're not going to be good.
Right.
So you need to hand that over to them and let them deal with that madness in that time and in that space. Feel me? I need you to
Right.
keep doing that and do that over there while I'm over here getting right on some other stuff, getting my life together. You feel me? Um, And a lot of times it's helped a lot of women heal because they've gone through traumatic experiences with molestation, even men too, with molestation, and having that rise to the surface and allowing that person or that child that they were still left as, because they say that if you've been violated as a child, the age that this happened, this traumatic event happens, you stay that age, and that other personalities come in to compensate for the devastation of the trauma. You know what I mean? So sometimes people have been confronted with these past that they may have forgotten, and then we give them a mechanism to allow that thing to be disseminated away or disintegrated so that it doesn't have any hold on the person any longer. You know?
Yes, it's a reformation, and then you are the bridge from one generation to the next. I was listening to you, your live a night or two ago when you were talking about inheritance, and you talked about this from an inheritance. So reinvigorating that spark to look within versus being validated from without. So
Mm-hmm.
you could go to these places uh, in a deficit versus operating from an optimal space. Nah, they're gonna tell you who you are. I remember that joint. What's that joint? Uh, Down in Central or South America, that movie they had where they was
What's
hunting
that?
in the Jaguar something. It was something with the Jaguar.
You
They
talking
was
about
they was,
talking about Apocalypto?
yeah, Apocalypto. There you go. Right. So he's like he's like, yo, I hunt here. My grandfather hunted here. My children gonna hunt there, and they children gonna. Who is you? You understand what
Right,
I'm saying?
right.
Yeah, yeah. So when they was chasing his ass, right? Or buddy was running for his life till he went back in his hood. Once he got back in the jungle, they in his trap now. You see what I'm saying? He was just over there. So that shit where you like, all right, you someplace where you weren't supposed to be at. Like, all right, now you food. You
Yeah,
fool. We
yeah.
gonna do you doing
Shouldn't
this
have
shit
been
for a
over there,
game.
Slim.
Yeah,
They done
yeah.
told
So
you.
he run back in his hood. He like, all right, it went from I'm frantic to I'm good. Now they frantic. You know what I'm saying? So now you run in my neighborhood. Police ain't running up in the projects to find you. You made it to the projects. It was a rap. They're like, all right, got you. I'm gonna catch you. Catch your little ass someplace else. They ain't going in the projects to come get you. You know what I'm saying? They got to cut the power and the water off to come get you. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? They ain't going through all that. So yeah. So that space of covering is something from one generation to the next that we always had to start from scratch. So whether we was talking about the music, whether we was talking about culture, whether we was talking about identity, whatever the case may be, all of those things intertwine because they subsets on one another. So if us reintroducing this into our family dynamic, even just from a spiritual perspective, just understanding what that was, you reestablish a connection because this is in everybody's family. They just called it something else. You ain't know what it was. You ain't know what it was. You see what I'm saying? And until you got to a spot, like I talked to my uncle. My uncle said, "Hey, hey, I'm a scholar with 40 years experience. Who are you?" You know what I'm saying? Like he had to chin check me and shit. Like he had to chin check me, like, like who, young punk, who the hell is you? You see what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, I've been doing this for decades. Who are you? So I was like, all
Yeah.
right, yep, that's what it was. So he made his bones a long time ago. You see what I'm saying? So I'm like, I was just wondering. I'm like, well, like, yo, why you asking about this or that or you know what I'm saying? Whatever it was, then he just broke that shit down to me after he showed me the bylaws. Like, yo, this is my shit right here. This is where we come from. This is my family shit. You know what I'm saying? He said my family shit. Like I had to work my way in that motherfucker. Like you ain't just. So it's just like that. So I'm like, all right, this is where the departure is. So when you have those context clues, you get a greater understanding of what you're doing. Yeah, correct.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the thing. There's no restraints. You know, this free world, everybody's just free to just run around in the grass and all that, but they act like they ain't nothing in the grass could get to bite you. You gotta, you know what I mean? Like, I tell you, I hate when I'm around people that have children and they be like, don't curse around them. And them little niggas go to school, I be looking at them like they crazy. Like, what? You are in an illusion. Like, do you not forget how old you was when you first started swearing? Because I know I was in like the first grade. We was talking crazy in the schoolyard. We was like, fuck you suck my dick, you bitch ass nigga, And then when you came in the house, you was like, oh man, oh dang, oh snap. You
That
did
was
not
too
use that.
close. Those
Yeah.
was too close.
Oh snap. What you said? Oh snap. What?
What the heck? The
Right.
heck?
Exactly. So I'm like, at that age, I was able to compute to understand the restriction of there's a boundary that you don't use this language outside of this little enclave of us, right? That we would be cursing amongst ourselves, but we get in trouble because somebody will curse to somebody else. They'd be like, "Oh, suck my." You'd be like, "Yo, son, why you tell that man that?" Now they're like, "Oh, you heard these kids over here cursing." Now y'all all get in trouble, right?
Right.
So, when people be like, "Oh, please don't swear around them," and I'm looking at them like, you know, they go to school, right? You know, they got a thing in their pocket that it's a computer. It was like going to the whole. Imagine you had Blockbuster at your fingertips when you was in school. Like, oh, I could just, like, what are you talking about? They are way ahead of you, and you are playing. That's why they don't talk to you, because they think you an idiot.
Definitely.
They don't talk to the adults because you talking to them like they stupid. Nah, they are moving this fast. So the problem is they don't believe anything that we say. They think we're hypocrites because they see us do and talk different shit.
Right.
See, the spiritualism, again, it was one of the parts that the Black Americans tried to neglect in the process of the tradition, because they didn't want to have to dig up all of that family history. They didn't want to have to go and open up those chests and those suitcases with that bullshit in there, right? And so we don't even really punish our own. You know, you got a dude that we running the streets and shooting up this and that, and then his mama get up there and be like, my son was good. Yeah, she's right. No. Right? So that, God bless Miss Valletta Wallace, but at the same time, you playing with us. And you play with your son. You knew what he was outside doing. You knew what circumstances was ahead of him. He was a heavy set, dark skinned black man with a lazy eye. You knew what he was going out into the world to have to face. Don't talk about your Chrissy poo. You are in a fantasy. Because he was selling crack because he had a daughter. And I'm very sure you didn't want to revisit those conversations when you was like, nigga, you got a baby. Well, you ain't getting no money from me. You understand? So and this is a part of, and I'm using this as a means of acknowledging that this is some of the stuff that we have within our thing, that this is why spiritualism is necessary, because the spirit's going to call it out. Like, oh yeah, you didn't know someone was going to jail? You feel me? So boom. I am going nuclear in high school. I am out of control. So it's a series of things that begin to happen. First, I get caught in all of them stores around my school because I went to art and design high school. So Bloomingdale's is right around the corner. That's our playground. We go in Bloomingdale's to steal just because. So you can understand that. Well, I had to understand that there's a what they call it, a merchants association in that area. That's Midtown. And so you get stuck, you get to taking some shit in one of them stores, all the stores know who you are. And we was making a mess of them stores. So the first thing that happened, my aunt, now my aunt is narcoleptic. She goes to sleep. Once she goes to sleep, she's not getting up. Right? And she's up all night. So during the daytime, I give them my cousin number because I'm like, she ain't gonna answer that phone. That day, something woke her up. Get up. She got up and answered the phone. Hello? They're like, oh, your nephew's out here acting crazy. So she called my dad. My dad go up there. They got a whole dossier on me. He's like, yo, you going to school today? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right. He went to the thing, then showed him everything. He's like, oh, really? So I come home from school. He's like, yo, homie, you out here stealing up all the clothes. That's why I ain't bought you no clothes in so long. You ain't asked me. I thought I was getting over, but no, you getting over on me. Right? Okay. So now at that point, my pops and them accept that this nigga is a criminal. Okay? When I get caught with the pistol, my mom's is somewhere and they having a misa and somebody gets possessed. They're having a seance and one of the ladies get possessed. She's like, where is the boy? She's like, what? They take him to get a reading now. Okay. So one day Mama Dukes is like, yo, homie, you'll meet me at your uncle's house. You better make it over there too. All right. So I go over there. My whole family is in the joint. They reading some other people. I sit down, I get read. My uncle says to me, hey man, Ochosi says, where's the gun? What gun? Now I got a pistol. It just ain't in my crib. Right? I'm gonna play juvenile logic. It's not in the house, it's in my man crib. Nah, I ain't got no pistol. Ochosi says, man, come on, man, just give up the gun. Nah, I ain't got no gun. Oh yeah, so you calling Ochosi a liar? I'm just saying, they're laughing at me. This guy's crazy. 14 days later, I got a gun charge. My uncle like, yeah, man, so you gonna tell me I'm a liar again? You understand? But they understood where I was going. Because they was very clear. Oh no, the boy got something in him. He be with the bullshit. Feel me? My mama ain't at the precinct like, not my son. She's trying to get to me, like, what you did? She's like, oh boy. Right? And so the spiritualism, like I said, it saved my life. Because every time she was someplace and it was like, where is the boy? He is in the streets causing havoc. Go and get him. You feel me? That's how and it was because of that second degree. Yeah, my mom's is activist. She going places and they're like, hey man, where's your son at? That motherfucker's out there acting crazy. You feel me? So now imagine that mechanism within black homes. So that phenomena being exercised. Because it's already there, but now let's Grandma Billy be like, she got her spirit with the doll. And the doll is like that. Because my grandmother was on it like, I ain't never went nowhere and the problem wasn't already addressed. You understand that?
Mm-hmm.
The very first time I got jammed up, I had on a red Calvin Klein suit. me and my cousin was going out to the club. I'm like 13. My aunt like, yo, where y'all going? Like, nah, we going out. She's like, yo, leave that nigga home. He's like, nah, I'm bringing him with me. She's like, so take that outfit off. Okay. Nah, for take off the outfit, but go right, Tessa. Boom. When my cousin come home without me, she's like, yo, where's, as soon as the nigga walk in the door, she's like, yo, where is he? Where you at? My cousin's like, right? So imagine that mechanism within our community in the majority of homes that can stop the young man from going outside and getting shot. What is that? How priceless is that? You feel me? It'd be like, yo, nah, son, don't go outside today. You know what I mean? They look, the bullets got your name on it. You feel me? So if we could just have that, then we have a cheat code that we could necessarily exercise to assist us, right? And so the spiritualism has a lot of benefits. It is essentially no frills African psychology. Real talk. You want to deal with somebody that got attention-seeking behavior, people that got personality disorders and all that. At the table of spiritualism, those things can be rectified, so that you can understand that someplace, when I talk about spiritual hygiene, another phrase that you hear the spiritual people using about, but it did not exist before I wrote that book. And the book is timestamped. Spiritual hygiene, where you go, you pick things up. So that dudes don't understand. So you went to the titty bar in between coming home from work. Shorty was rubbing up all on you. Then you got in the bed with your baby mama. She pregnant right now. You don't think that she don't feel all that bullshit from the girl that you was letting rub up on you? Because the girl that was rubbing up on you, she got all kinds of problems. Her rent is due. They're about to take her kids. She beefing with her baby father. She got all kinds of shit. She in there trying to grind on you to get a couple of dollars to survive. So while she's grinding on you, she's dropping her problems on you. Now you take that home because you have no spiritual awareness. You haven't cleaned yourself off. So you go home with that. You climb in the bed with wifey because you didn't sleep with nothing. But she like, yo, who you was with? And you're like, nobody. She don't believe that because spiritual knows are different. So now if you have this awareness, so that you know what, I'm about to go into the bar. Let me get some stuff to clean myself off afterwards. Let me clean myself off and ask for forgiveness for my little bit of moment of lust. I'm going to go home and cuddle with my baby. Throw that shit away. And then get in the bed with her. Hey, mama, I missed you. And now you don't have Sunshine's, all of her, you know what I'm saying, defects all hanging off of you. You dig? Again, these are things so that spiritual awareness may have necessarily saved you, Seth. Nah, son, I ain't going over there this time of night. You bugging. I'm going in the morning. It's not that serious. You feel me?
Yeah.
So, because like I said, there's been plenty of places my grandmother was like, where you going? And I was like, oh, and she was like, nah, abort that mission. And what are you talking about? Come on, don't do that to me. She's like, nah, don't go over there. I'm telling you, if I went without her, you know what I'm saying, blessing, I promise you it was a problem. And afterwards, she'd be like, so what happened down there? I'd be like, oh, man. Okay? That's a part of the spiritualism that is necessary for us to co-opt and champion That's all I can say, because Jesus is cool, but again, and I've said this in the past, the nigga can't scratch his nuts. He got nails in his hands and a crown of thorns. This nigga doing bad. You asking this nigga for help, but he can't help himself. You know what I mean? Now you give me another image of Jesus chilling with the sword and the chalice and all that. Yeah, I'll accept that, but I'm not accepting him naked, stabbed in the side with nails in his hands. Nigga can't scratch his nose. You know what I mean? Mm-mm. You can't even give him a blunt. Like, yo, you want to smoke a blunt? You can't even do that. The nigga barely can get his head up. This nigga, what are you talking about? This nigga's hopeless. Why is you worshiping this nigga? This nigga is fucking hopeless. You see what I'm saying? And so these the things that we that need to be addressed. That the people, these are very simple concepts. This is not metaphysics 2.5. It's not. It's real, very simple. Just look at what you know what I mean? And again, back to those things, those conundrums that the scholars, they gotta answer those before they can tell me about how scholarly they are. You still have not rectified that. What to use? Aha, very good question. So, anything organic. You go into the strip club, you order 10 chicken wings, you ate 8, you put 2 in chicken wings inside a bag, a paper bag preferably, maybe a piece of bread. You come out of there, use it like a bar soap all over your body, rub it down, and you throw it. You ain't gotta throw it in the garbage, but throw it somewhere. Maybe in the garbage. In the garbage, somebody might pick in the garbage. And look what they found. 2 chicken wings and a piece of bread. They're gonna bless you. Even though they don't know you. They're like, oh man, whoever the fuck left these 2 chicken wings, he's a legend.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Another thing that I do personally, if I go to a bar, I leave a drink on the bar for the wandering nigga. So I have my drink. Before I leave, I order another drink. And I leave it there. And I put the fucking napkin on it and I leave it. Some wandering weirdo is going to drink that motherfucking drink. And when he drinks that, all the bad shit going to go with him and not with me. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, cleaning yourself up, spiritual hygiene. You want to have cologne, right? Cologne, any cologne. Something that smells good, that invigorates your sense of smell, right? Rotten things are no good. Flat, musty things they don't smell good. So when you have perfumes, things that smell vibrant, it affects your brain a certain way. So that the understanding is that before you give her the flowers, you already have ingested the scent of the fucking roses before you give them to her. Now you give them to her. Here you go, baby girl. Now we on the same page. That she smell them, and that our endorphins are in the same area. You bought me flowers? Yeah, baby. You know what I mean? And so you practice a lot of the spiritual hygiene, but you don't know why. So I want y'all to understand this. So, and this is one of the things I'm gonna leave you with. These are the little breadcrumbs. So, in Orisha tradition, the deity Shango is suspected of hanging himself from a tree branch. So no much that the part of his law is Obako, so the king did not hang. Now, in our tradition, there is a tree that is sacred to him, known in this hemisphere known as the alamo tree. The alamo tree is related in the same family as what we call the poplar tree. And the poplar tree is the favored hanging tree. Now, why do I say that? I'm saying that to say that it is very coincidental that people who worship a thunder god who is suspected of hanging himself from a tree, one of those trees that is sacred to him, becomes the favorable hanging tree for white men to hang black men from. That is not by coincidence. That is a learned witchcraft that they figured out. So, spiritualism prepares you for the ability to actually perceive occult things with any real clarity. If you've just been reading about some group of people who do these rituals and they draw these sigils and you think you're going to do what they did, that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, you got to go by the way which is closest to you, which is those people that came before you. And you have to know the difference between spirit and, I guess I was talking about the other day, imagination. Because everybody got imagination. Most will be like, oh, and I was on the planet, and Jesus was next to me, and he was rolling the blunt, and then Muhammad was on the other side, and we was going our way to earth, and I kicked evil's ass. And you'd be like, well, sounds great. But that's your imagination, the image that you have conjured up. That has nothing to do with whether or not that's the truth. You feel me? So, all of the people that be up there propagating the Orisha traditions and they're going to save your life and Ifa going to save the world, all of that is propaganda. Real talk. It's propaganda. There is a humility that comes. And again, if you knew what your destiny was, you probably wouldn't fulfill it. So let's walk lightly. I'm going to shoot somebody today. Man, that's crazy. But, yeah, let me get some water real quick. Now, hold on 1 second. Let me get some water.
Corrupted science itself. Because at one time it was just the science of living and surviving here on this planet. Science of life.
Cause you were started, you read it in my creation. I'm God Zodiac, I'm made from constellations. My brain is a bomb waiting to flame an abomination. No change in the bomber's nation, just some more dollars placed in the pockets of Satan. While I walk amongst the blind, explaining chakras to the cavemen. I'm locking from the grave, sending doctors to the shamans. Scientists ashamed they getting knowledge from the pagans. I'm in Nirvana with militant, philosophical, diligent builders aiming for spots in a large nation. I mean the all in all, the cream of God hopped and rise to the occasion. Surprised that we can date and your time's finished, diminished. I'm live from the awakening. Cameras on tilt as I flex my success. I'm fly, look what I built. Smooth just like silk in the groove. You might wilt if your lotus ain't focused and sewn just like a quilt from the needle to the record to the laser. My behavior resembles the high savior. See my 2 fingers up, yelling peace to the gods. Waving by to the haters, standing on the black dot in the center of my square. In the middle of the circle, I designed the creator. Khalifa when I speak through the speaker. Thoughts of a magician is lost in mysticism that reached the non-believer. I shine in your theater.
The clock was already moving before you saw the wheels turn.
IAK, send it to MC for the record. Each song is the part that makes me. Signs of the times, the future I foresee. KAZOD, IAK, send it to MC for the record. Each song is the part that makes me. Wheel of the spirit, the stars, and deeds. Who's better than this? Intelligentness. Clouds like I pass heaven to split. Killing cops, shaming treacherousness. You serve the devil, you're protecting the myth. Professional hitman, I spit excellence. I connect you to bliss. Grab this pebble from my hand and I let you exist. But if you don't, well, I spit a ghost spell. Get off my coattails. My coach is our God. I live it so well. The life of a G is high as can be. A soul model, what your role model aspires to be. True boss life. In order to lead, you need foresight. We came rich with PRT. We ain't poor, right? Error of the rich righteous. They fix the crisis of the terror of the mid-lifeless. The myth virus infecting the whole planet. Infected the globe with manic depressing. My soul answers the questions. I'm like Osiris flying in the gold-plated sky disc with no pilot. Kingdom of heaven, you can walk through my gate, but speak certainty. Silence is a virtuous trait. I was more amazing, I ain't have to learn to be great. When every child's born, they ain't have to learn to create. It's when it feels rejected, that's when love turns into hate. God leap through a hole within space. Welcome to my dimension. When you think of the God, well, I'm the guy you mentioned. K-A-Z-O-D-I-A-K. Send it to MC for the record. Each song is the part that makes me. Signs of the time, future I foresee. K-A-Z-O-D-I-A-K. Send it to MC for the record. Each song is a part that makes me. Wheel of the spirit, the star, the spirit, the star, the
You're not ready for that.
wheel of the spirit, the star, the spirit, the star,
The dynamic of law is in that wheel. Man discovered that shit. You just ain't ready to take on that dimension.
We just really regurgitate.
What the creators already know.
But no matter how we try to spin it, it's the same wheel.
Che Black, straight like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So let me just address some of the comments. I just happened to look at some of the comments real quick. Right? So somebody was like, do we have to have vice to be successful? I don't know what utopian world everybody be coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to tell you that I came from Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn. You come outside, somebody might punch you in your face just for living. I watched this monk say something today about how people are in fear of the fact that things are the way they are. Like, just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it ain't so. And so this idea that you're going to think that you're going to walk around and be sitting next to the lions and the lambs and everybody going to get along, you are sadly mistaken. You better get with the program. Like, so when we talk about vice, let's talk about the fact that babies from birth, once they start to walk, if they can spin around and get high, they will.
Mm-hmm.
The first alcohol in Yoruba theology is called palm wine. That shit is not manufactured by human beings. They climb up into the tree and they tap into that shit, and it's already fermented. If you eating mushrooms, because all y'all be microdosing these mushrooms and all that, and talking about how the apes ate the mushroom and that's how we got the consciousness and all that. If you believe that, then what are we talking about? The vice is a necessary part of the human experience. Like, what are you talking about? Like, yo, my homeboy was talking about the other day, they was watching the thing where the orangutan cut his face or something, and then he took the leaves and chewed it and put that shit on his face, and that shit healed his face. Like, what are you talking about? Sex, drugs, and rock and roll are a necessity for the human condition. I want you to understand that right now, in North Korea, as locked down as it is, there's a basement somewhere where them young people are getting high and rubber-dubbing on each other. Because there's some things that are beyond human construction, and these are the things that what you call your instincts. So that this is why the people was like, yo, you to me, I can't have no alcohol, man. Listen, we're going to make speakeasies and we're going to get in here and have a good time. Now, the problem becomes when you don't control any of the devices, the only thing that you got is the oppression. So that, you know, historically, so we talk about all of this. There was a time when, yes, they had in certain places, Black men got jobs because those industries, they knew how to do those things. But the vast majority of Black men that have climbed to the ranks in this country have done so on the backs of some sort of vice, albeit prostitution, numbers, drugs, or alcohol. So this idea of, you know, these incense burning, Che Guevara shirt wearing niggas be talking all of this utopian shit, and they ain't fitting to bust a grape in a wine factory. They want to talk about their Black experience. They want to write all kinds of theses and all that, but you ain't gonna do nothing. We talked about this on my show last night, Knowledge. C. Ferguson. I don't see no shirts with him. All the revolutionary niggas talk all that. He put in work. He got busy.
Right.
You talking about Che and this one and that one. I ain't never seen them pop nobody. So miss me with all that utopian bullshit. I hate when like niggas start talking about the chakras and the zodiacs and all that bullshit. Like, you get the shut up. And then you want to be vegan because you don't want to hurt an animal. Like, shut up. Shut up. Word up. Cause that shit sound gay. Like, you sound weak. I ain't talking about homosexual, I'm talking about you sound gay. You sound weak, like a sissy. What about why we gotta have, like, why? Because that's what it is. Like, you think that the hip hop generation invented all of this? Niggas was smoking reefer and sniffing cocaine and getting high from the beginning of the time. What are you talking about? But the problem is, everybody wants rainbows, and they want unicorns, and they want baby wipes to wipe their booty. Shut up. Get out of here. I'm pointing out the very obvious things that, yo, when you know, like when you go look at a prize fight and you be like, oh, he didn't duck right there. He didn't slip that right. Yep. That's how he got knocked out.
That's how he got slept.
Exactly. And what happens is, unfortunately, it be the niggas that ain't never had no struggle. Feel me? That want to always have something to say because they've never had to deal with anything, so they always got the other side. Well, what about? Well, what about this? Well, what about that? But they've never been in a life-changing experience in their lives. They've never had to make a decision. You feel me? And
Amsterdam is the most peaceful place on the planet I've ever been. I've been to a bunch of places. Amsterdam is so peaceful. All of the drugs is legal. You understand? Prostitution is legal. Like the cops, the cops are a novelty.
They said,
you know what I'm saying?
Like, you can steal a bike. Like they rent you the bike, but they know that the dope fiends are gonna steal it. It's an insurance that comes with the bike. Like, look, you come outside, the bike gonna be gone, right? Because they accept the fact that people gonna do certain things. But our people, you want to come to Jesus moment. You want to pie in the sky, right? You don't want to have to work for it. So you don't want to have to work for it when it comes to your politics because you don't put. So what the real deal was, if you watch all of the gangster movies, they get enough money for their community to send one of these silly rabbits to school to put him in place so that he can make it better for the rest of the people.
That's it.
So it's not funny that Mayor Adams is about to be jammed up. It's not funny. It's a disgrace, and it is a missed opportunity.
Right.
So that you understand that every ethnicity that came to this country has always lifted themselves up by the weight of their underworld. The Chinese be doing all kinds of wild shit. You have no idea.
No
because
clue.
they don't get caught up in Abrahamic morality telling them what they can and can't do. They're like, nah, we're going to feed these people. And if you don't follow the directions, then you're a dummy, and we're going to put you in a dummy position, and we'll sell you to somebody.
True.
So when I hear that, because I look at the comment, and I be looking, and there be always these millennials, they be talking cash, money shit, because they always got an answer to something, and they never experienced anything. Again, like I started out in the beginning, I'm going to give you a history lesson on me. I ain't your average Care Bear. I ain't your average Care Bear. I went to a freedom school all through I got kicked out of the 4th grade in board of education. They told me I could not come back. Not because I was wild and beating up kids, because I was challenging the teachers, telling me that there's 7 continents. Like, what are you talking about? Like, did you just not say that there's a fucking large body of mass of land surrounded by water on all sides? Where is this 7 continent? What are you talking about? That's why I got kicked out of school, right? My mama moved me to Gates Avenue between Marcus Garvey and Lewis in 1989, 1990. My block was out of control. It's a stick-up kid block. That's everything that you hear about Bed-Stuy and all of the rappers that you talk about. None of them come where I come from. They don't come over there. They don't got no business coming over there. You feel me? I live in the land of the lost. You go on my block right now, it might be a police cruiser sitting on the block over there for 24 hours a day. That's how cooking it get. I didn't want to grow up in that. I grew up in the circumstances. My best friend been on one of them walls since he was 16 years old. This is before Nas ever dropped Illmatic or B.I.G. ever came on the scene. I was already painting my friends on the walls. I buried both my parents before I was 25 years old. Don't tell me nothing about nothing. I always had to go outside and get it on my own. With the understanding that, yeah, the system is against you. When I was in juvie, I understood that they get $100,000 a year for each prisoner, and they only spend about $13,000 because I was there when they had accreditation for the jail. I understood all of these things. I didn't just wake up yesterday and be like, oh, Black Power. I've been doing this. When Nelson Mandela got let out of jail, because everybody don't know whether or not he was ever let out of jail, they say he died. No, he didn't die in jail, nigga, because I touched the limousine when he came to Bedford-Stuyvesant and he passed through Boys and Girls High School on Fulton Street. Mm-hmm. I've been a part of this. Like, even with today, when you talk about like the North and the South, I be like looking at the brothers in the South when they start talking that shit about the North, and I be like, yo, what are you talking about? What is Killer Mike talking about? You can't sell me no RBG shit when the entire South was the Bible Belt and y'all was talking about that was voodoo and some other shit. When we was trying to be progressive with Black people. Let's talk about that. You feel me?
Right.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the fact that the Bible Belt was going against everything that we was talking about from the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s. Let's talk about it. So that I got, what's his name? David Band and them trying to teach me about some 7 Black principles. You better get out of here.
And they'll take it. They'll take it. They'll take that shit hook, line, and sinker. I'm like,
right.
Who?
But they got
what
mad.
Is that?
They got mad when I posted on my Instagram when Andre said the South got something to say, and then I was like, yeah, Laffy Taffy, throw all of that booty music. That's what you had to say.
Right.
Now we're gonna take some accountability. We're gonna talk the talk today. If we were gonna talk the talk,
you could have kept that shit.
Yeah.
If that's what you had to say. You could have kept
you had
that
to tell
shit.
us what you had to say. Yeah. Oh, really? About some stuff that didn't concern you. That you was getting an award. You getting an award, and then you talking about the South got something to say. The East Coast and the West Coast is beefing. You decided you want to get in the middle of all of that.
Right.
You feel me? So no, man, no, you can't try to shame me because I ain't got my hair locked up and I don't smell like patchouli oil. Like, we've been through that. I was there with the beginnings of the fucking African Street Festival. You niggas was not jacking none of that. Y'all was talking about come home to Jesus moment. Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. So now all of a sudden, now you know something. Now you're gonna try to infringe on me. Johnny
Taylors. They all know Johnny Taylor.
Yo,
whether they 2 or they 200. That's it.
Listen, they better God bless New York City for making hip hop, because if not, everybody be listening to fucking blues and gospel.
That's it.
And funk. That's what they will be listening to. Don't tell me. Don't ever. No. We ain't gonna play them games. And so, God bless Fred Hampton Jr. He said, "Thank you for coming to the movement, but understand that you got a late pass. So sit your ass down."
Yeah. That's it.
And look, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. Every last one of them young boys that be talking all that Orisha and chakra business, they be going right to jail. Or they be looking crazy.
Or the cemetery.
Yeah.
Or the cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had the boy, he was up there, he was the debater of the debaters and all that. He went and got the tattoo over his eye, and then YouTube shut him down. They just let him know, like, nah, son, we control that.
Yeah.
Now figure out how to get some money. Huh? The other little Rashad dude was talking crazy, jammed up. I just had a dude that was up there, the King Brujo dude. He was talking cash business. And because, and he, now the Africans have said the cease and desist letter. Like, nah, we don't know him. We don't associate with him. So you can't say that to me, because I got my own godchildren.
Right.
I've been doing this. Feel me? I go and I talk to the elders, and I know the history. I know the nuances. I made it my business to learn, to understand some Spanish so that I could go over there without Google Translate or the Rosetta Stone. Don't play with me. I ain't your average Care Bear. Real talk. I don't care if you don't agree with what I'm saying. Don't say no stupid shit. Oh, like, shut up. I can't with niggas, man. I can't. And again, it'd be somebody that you ain't never did nothing. What have you done to further any culture or anything? You sit behind a keyboard and you punch little emojis. You can't even write. You can't even spell. Come on, man. And you can't even sign a check because you don't know how to write in cursive. Like, man, listen. They better leave me alone. You feel me? There's a whole lot of things that's wrong with this generation that they need to necessarily get themselves in order. Because like I said, if they could play with the internet and start to erase things and start to erase stuff off the YouTube, you in trouble. I got books. I don't need to charge them up. They don't need no charging. You know what I'm saying? They don't need no charging. I can read the book. You feel me?
Books and lived experience.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I had a cat tell me he studied war. He said that shit to me.
Yeah, he ain't had no bullets flying over his head. You out there with the IADs and all kinds of crazy shit.
Yeah,
he talking about studied it.
Metal in my blood, right? Metal in my blood. But he telling me what he read.
Yeah. Niggas is crazy. Niggas be really like, yo, son, did they evaluate you? Did you get a 730 evaluation? If they told you about yourself, did they ask you who was in Grant's tomb? That'd be the stupid questions they ask you in the crazy house. They'd be like, who's in Grant's tomb? What color was George Washington's white horse? That's and you know what? If you answer aggressively, they gonna juice you up.
That's it. Hit you with the thoughts and
yeah, baby. Go ahead and tell a fucking white horse. They be like, oh, he's got anger, aggression issues. Give him. Let's write these scripts for him. We give him every
hit him
day.
with the. They're gonna hit him with the Thorazine first, and then have him on all of the. Lift up your tongue. Lift up your tongue.
One flew over the cuckoo's nest.
That's it.
Feel me? Nah,
Hell
son,
yeah.
don't tell me nothing about none of that. And then you know what? The other part is I'm not fitting to be debating or haggling with any of these slaves that live in their mama crib. If you live in your mama crib and you have not effectively renovated her bathroom or anything, unalive yourself. Unalive yourself. Okay? Because we're not talking about you talking all of this. I'm a warrior.
Baseball caps on the wall and shit.
Yeah. They got baseball caps on the wall and you got a poster of Jordan. Man, go on about yourself, bruh. Are you serious? Go away. You feel me? If your mother is the mediator between you and your baby mama and the kids, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. You need some help. You need some social assistance. You feel me? Right. So I be wondering, I'm gonna tell you this. This is a story, right? One day, I was down there by Dance Africa. They was having band, Brooklyn Academy of Music, right? You know, everybody come out with their dreads and their kente cloth, everybody African and shit. And I seen a young bruh. He had this whole djembe drum he was carrying. So I was like, yo, son, you play? He was like, nah. Huh? He said, nah, I just keep the drum because the chicks like it. I was like, first of all, that drum weigh about 20, 30 pounds. You be carrying this 30 pounds around. You can't play, but you just gonna play like you can. You see what I'm saying?
Yo, that's the motherfucker asked him, the young G asked him on the Boondocks, where's your sandals? Ask that motherfucker, where's your sandals?
I mean, like, what are you talking about, man? You carrying around a drum to get some vagina? Come on, son. It gotta be another way. You know what I mean? And so that's just how easily, like, you could just, like, if I wanted to, I could appeal to all of the madness. It's really easy. I just take my hair out of my braids, let it be all puffy. I could put on one of them little dashikis, I put all my beads on. You know what I'm saying? Put a feather in my hair, and I'd be like, and start greeting them, and I could make up my own religion right now if I wanted to. Knowledge.
You a scholar supreme right there. That's it. That's all it takes. And you gotta have the sandals like Boondocks.
Otherwise, oh, for sure. They got to see your toes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to see your toes. And I'm going to get a manicure and all that, you know, because toes is looking good. They know that they can trust you. I mean, you dig? They're like, oh, his toes is out. I can trust them. Yeah.
That's the aesthetic, right? That's the aesthetic. Yeah. And they'll watch Constantine and see this motherfucker come through wrinkled up, drunk, and he'd be like, yo, how he got the password and I ain't got it? Like, oh, buddy never got in that bitch. He's like, yeah, such and such. He tried that shit.
He tried that shit. You can't come in. Like, son.
It ain't on you, it's in you.
You got on Air Force Ones. You got to put on the Jesus sandals to come in here. You know what I mean? Nah. And so I don't play with nobody. Like, my information, you don't have to take it for what it is. Listen, I don't get up in the morning and I don't go to Mr. Charlie's plantation. Right? I don't go to Mr. Charlie's plantation. I don't pimp a mailbox. And I don't sell you trinkets on the internet. I don't scam niggas. But I pay my bills. Because I do what I do. I'm not that I'm very good at it. I've been blessed that I have great spirits that assist me in doing what I do. Feel me? But I'm not selling. I ain't got no pack, no dried up herbs. none of that madness. I'm not trying to get your penis to stand up straight. I'm not selling you no, you're going to have the cleanest liver. None of that shit. Niggas selling CMOS. Yeah, I don't know where these niggas get that shit from. They could be growing that shit in the back of their crib. Niggas be like, oh, it's the CMOS. It's purple because, you know, in the light of the moon and the chakra of the 7th hour, it turns purple. This is the best one. You'd be like, oh, word. Oh, shit, my nigga. Let me get 3 packs of that, right? I don't play none of them games, man. You feel me? I'm not out here as, you know, the whole brother thing was the beginning of me necessarily transitioning from, not necessarily being, because I wasn't in the street at that point, but I was around the street. So the brother is to let you know that I ain't coming to snatch your motherfucking laptop out your hand, no shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? But it's just Oba. I didn't go out here and be like, Baba Oba Ade Dayo, the 3rd of the 4th of the 5th of the 6th. Right? I be like, yo, who are you, man? Like, come on, son. Don't be like, I'm not at this age, I'm just not fitting to really be talking to you like that. I'm not fitting to call you Oguns, Machete, or no.
Dr. Jimmy Neutron.
Dr. Jimmy Neutron.
Mojo Jojo. I am Mojo Jojo.
Mojo Jojo. You know, I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? I want you, if that's what you into, then you should set the stage for the next generation, your children. Mm-hmm. And that includes even who you be making these babies with. See, because I don't got no kids, and I did that by design. And because I'm shooting blanks, I just wasn't fitting to be making no babies with nobody that's going to tell me they was going to have to name my son Cleophas. And I'm like, you're going to have to get this Yoruba name. They wasn't going to fit to be doing that. And I was very clear that there wasn't that many options. Now, unfortunately, the girls in my tradition, especially a lot of the ones that convert, they are all cookie cutted out of the same, they come out the same, model, right? Their apartment look like an Essence shoot. You got the little bean bag on the thing, and they got the plants, and the walls is painted all kinds of different colors, and they got their certain books lined up with the coldest winter and all of that. You can see it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just not with it. Feel me?
Oh,
and
shit.
Just so they know, you know, Diddy in here, my nigga, I got a partner. I'm married. Feel me? Like, I ain't just talking. Like, if I was talking, like, listen, women don't stick around for bullshit. Like chicken heads do. You know, you see the dude, he got the 3 chicken head girls. He's like, oh, and he's making them do sounds and all that. Yeah, I'm talking about real women. Nah, they ain't sticking around for no bullshit like that. You feel me? And so I could talk it like I live it. Like I said, I don't get up in the morning and I don't check into nobody's plantation. You feel me? I ain't on nobody's medication. Ain't nobody giving me no medication to take. I'm seeing fucking bats and no stupid shit. None of that. So the fact that I buried both my parents, I've managed to keep myself out of prison because a lot of my friends, I got homeboys doing triple life. I ain't fucking with no niggas that was doing no sucker shit out here in the world. I was hanging out with niggas that was putting in, like, they was pushing to the limit. You feel me? My homie got one of my best friends is on the wall. The other one got triple life, and another one got fucking 25 life. And you see my other homeboy, he's been in a wheelchair for 30 years. You heard? And that's not from no fucking stray shit. You heard? So, nah, I've lived a life. I can separate each one of them and come back, and some of you couldn't live half of one of them lives that I did. So when I'm giving you this game about something that you could only read about, you could go and Google it and you might see a little documentary, but I be there. And not only do I be there, sometimes I'm controlling the scene. So I'm not telling you something that I'm just like, oh yes, and I think Because, you know, there'd be a whole bunch of niggas, they write a whole bunch of theses about Masons and all that, and they've never been in a lodge.
Right.
Nah, I don't do that. I'm not talking, no. I got my lessons, my shit straight from my elders, from my family members and all that. I really be doing this. Like, this really consumes most of my day, most of my days, my weeks, my months, my years. So if I'm telling you something, shut up. And maybe you will learn something. But too busy wanting to Google this and you want to argue with me. You don't have an argument. Shut up. Yo, outside of the people that call me for readings all over the world on, you know what I'm saying? The bulk of my workload is me taking care of old priests. People that know what it's supposed to be like, and they will not accept anything less. You feel me? So when I get to do, when you went to Nigeria for a weekend, and now you come back and you dressing like Billy Ray Valentine, and motherfucking Trading Places.
Oh, yeah.
Merry New Year. Right?
Happy New Year.
So I want you to understand that I'm looking at you crazy. And I have the right to. Because it's the equivalent of being a gangbanger and then going to the set of Colors and watching dudes trying to play you. You'd be like, look at it. Look at it. Look at this. Right? And I'm like, yo, when did black people lose their cool? When did we stop being cool? When niggas just do everything and anything. So that, like I said, I look up and I'm like on the concert circuit, you got the guy, he got the fez on, and he's talking about hoodoo. And this nigga ain't never killed a chicken in his life.
Crazy.
He ain't never seen nobody possessed with no superhuman strength jumping up off the walls.
What if he got a chicken under that fence? Like
they might got
like
one.
the chicken.
They might got one. They figured out the chicken is there.
Maybe he got some crown fried chicken under that lampshade.
Now that's why it's called crown fried chicken. You put it on there.
Yeah. Like that's for his crown chakra.
I don't understand how. And then, you know, some of these people that have these platforms be mad at me because I didn't attack their quote unquote friends. But again, you mad at the gangbanger for telling you that the actor nigga don't know what he's talking about. You feel me?
Right.
The actor could tell you, oh yeah, I ready myself for the role, and this is what the script says, but I can't really tell you what gangbanging is about. I'm just playing a role.
Right.
You should be talking to the real gangbanger.
True.
But instead, you get into your feelings and you got all of these kooky motherfuckers up there talking all of the stuff that 10 years ago, if we were to go back, so let's like, there's a chick that she goes by a Zodiac name. I ain't gonna say her name. If we go back into her Instagram, you see her and she's just a chicken head broad. That used to be hanging out on Saturday nights at the juke joint. Now she's a metaphysician, and now you, what? Come on, son. Come on. So now the real challenge is we're gonna have a 25-year challenge. Let's go back 25 years and see what you was doing.
Yeah.
See what you was wearing.
Yep.
Let's see what you was doing.
Yeah.
Let's go back 25 years and see what was really cooking with you. And that's in the 2000s. We ain't even talking about, this is 2024. We were talking about 2099. What was you doing back then? You wasn't talking about no chakras, and you wasn't talking about no spirits or no Loa. You wasn't talking about that. You was
They was
scared.
talking about Noah, not Loa. Noah.
Yeah, you talking about Noah, not Loa,
Noah.
and you scared with the ring. That was the length, the extent of your motherfucking, you know what I'm saying? Oh, the ring. Don't look at the ring. That movie's really real, son. Like, am I lying? 25 years ago, that's how niggas was talking.
They was talking.
And I know because I've been there and I've always been incognito. I've been watching. Like, look at this. You feel me? That I can tell you, I could go back to some things in popular culture right now that people didn't figure out till later on. But I knew what was going on. When put your hands where your eyes can see, I knew what the video was depicting. Each part got the different thing. I knew when he was like, oh, this is the electrical part, and he was on some Ogun shit here. He got some Obatala shit here with the elephant, right? I knew what was going on in the video where niggas didn't have a fucking clue. So this is why I'm be like, yo, you should shut up and sit down. You feel me? And I've had to deal with this on my own level. I got a goddaughter out here right now. She's giving out. She make Congo. If you purchase them Congo tarot cards, they round. They look like coasters. Shame on you. Because that shit is junk. It's Congo chalks or some shit like that. That shit is junk. She don't know nothing. But because she got the divine feminine and she done spit out a bunch of little pickaninnies, now all of a sudden she's supposed to be divine and she's in touch with nature and all that. Meanwhile, the chick one day, I'm going to tell you a story. One day the chick told me the dog bit one of her kids. I'm like, what? She's like, oh, man, what did I do? Oh, my God. Because the father was going to have an issue with that. Shorty called me back, told me, I don't know what to do. I'm like, what happened? I killed the dog. Why the fuck would you do that? Don't you know that's shit is illegal? You crazy motherfucker? Right? Now, this same person later on going to tell me how good their spirits are. I said, well, where was your spirits when you killed the dog, you crazy bitch? Huh? Where was the spirit then? The spirit wasn't like, no, bitch, don't kill the dog. No. The spirit was quiet. It was eating popcorn and letting you kill the dog. You dummy. Right. Man, you'll get out of here. So you'll tell me, oh, my spirits can see too. I know they don't. You don't see nothing. You know why? Because I've yet to vet you. In fact, you ain't never even actually seen me possessed with nothing for real. You seen one of my spirits, but you ain't never seen me really give me. I got people to tell you they've been somewhere when I done got possessed. This nigga and broke the machete into 3 pieces with his hands. So I'm supposed to go with, I had another girl one time. The girl was trying to get possessed with my, at the time, girlfriend's dead mother, who's a Cuban lady who speaks Spanish, but the girl speaking English. I said, well, what happened to the Spanish, bitch? Right. She came all the way back from the dead to speak English. A lady who her first language was Spanish. Make it make sense, man.
Girl, what you done with your head? Oda Mae Brown out here. Motherfucker, Oda Mae Brown out here. Sam Wheat. Motherfuckers is out here Sam Wheat.
You see what I'm saying?
I want to ask you this last part because I meant to ask you. We talked about it before, though. What do you think about the cinematic portrayal of your traditions? Like, whether we talk about the movies or the TV show. Like, we talked about that Godfather of Harlem shit. You understand? In particular, that shit, and then that shit that was in that new Girl 6 or whatever the fuck that shit was that spookily redid. Where they had, what's her name? Rosie Perez acting like she was somebody godmother and doing the tradition. You know what I'm saying?
It's all hyperbole. Feel me? They just like, so what happens is I would have to tell a story because I would be able to tell a story and still be able to show everything, but not show everything. You understand? And the reason I say that is because not being a convert, so I wasn't initiated when I was a kid. I was a young man when I got initiated. So I have an experience of not being privy to certain things and then being privy to them. So I could tell you, and I have peers that I grew up with that died not ever experiencing what the mystery was. So what happens is what they do in Hollywood is very hard to do to depict what we do because they don't. It's not the main topic of the story, and so they don't have enough time to give any real reference to what is really going on. Number two, the way that they recreate whatever was done is done so by way of hearsay and not actual visual seeing it. You feel me? So when they clean the people off, they be, and they be all that bullshit. And you be like,
Right.
that's not how that shit happens. Like, you be like, word? And you, so what happens is, so like, you got a lot of people that will reference Serpent in the Rainbow. And that shit is like,
and Angel Heart, Serpent Rainbow, Angel Heart, Skeleton Key, all that shit.
yeah, that shit is all sensational shit. That shit ain't got nothing to do with the real tradition. And see, and the other part is that what ends up happening is everything gets scooped into the same bin. What I practice is not hoodoo. I'm gonna piss a bunch of people off, but I don't care. Hoodoo, I don't respect that shit because that shit is not a science. Like, there's no what is the core theology behind it? Like, what rules it? You just got a bunch of people with some fucking trading recipes. You know what I mean? What is the substance of the culture? It has to have so it don't have a language. You understand? So I'm gonna say this, and this shit is real talk. So in terms of culture, and this goes throughout the world, everything. So culture is defined as your theology, your diet, your aesthetics, your folklore, your language, your music, everything, right? Now, we could go to the three major Abrahamic religions, but none of them have their own. So Arabic doesn't belong to Islam. It was a language before, right? Hebrew, as a language, they speak Yiddish today. They don't speak Hebrew amongst each other. And don't nobody be speaking no Latin. Everybody that's a Latin American country, I don't know not one of them that can read or speak Latin. Okay? And this tradition, even in its displacement, maintains a cultural context so that we all have the same theology, that we believe in the same God, we have the same language, we have the same diet. So that there's certain things that are fed to certain Orishas that I could go to Brazil right now because whatever they feed, I don't even got to know. I'm like, oh, they're feeding Yemonja, they're feeding Oba Ade Dayo, right? And music. So there's no Jews singing those songs that Moses or Levi and them were singing. Ain't no songs in the Catholic Church that Jesus was singing. And whatever they eating in Islam today is not what Muhammad and them was eating. You understand? So, in terms of a living culture, I practice a living culture that has never died, because even in the absence of the institutions, the culture has still survived in pockets. So that I'm born with a name like Oba, and I have Changome, and I've never been to Nigeria, right? And I wasn't born in Havana, but I can go to Havana and I can talk with them. I could go to Yoruba land. If you drop me off in Yoruba land, I'm gonna figure it out. My religious context of the language will allow me to figure out what the fuck is going on and have a understanding of it. So, to answer your question, film doesn't do us any good because there's nobody from the inside. So, like, even with what's that shit? Next Day Air, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't even understand the religious implications of the fact that the dude didn't die because his shorty did sacrifice for him, right? So only the dumb dude, right, who happens to have a Yoruba name in real life, right? What's his name? The light-skinned kid that was in the Clueless. He has a Yoruba name. His name is Ade or some shit like that in real life. Ade, whatever his name, you know what I mean? Ade Shola or some shit like that is his real name. So he has the name connected to the culture. And then his character survives, and then the other dude, the Spanish dude, his girl made sacrifice and he survived. Everybody else got deaded off in the thing.
Right.
That most people don't even understand the religious implications when you watch a movie like City of God.
Mm-hmm.
In City of God, they show you where little Zay fucked up at. They told him, he said, no fornicating where you got these beads on. And what did he do when he raped the girl? You see the beads going back and forth.
Right.
And then that's the beginning of his end after that. Right? So the tradition, even in Scarface, they took out a part that you don't even see when they kill Angel. Before Angel, they go into the thing. Angel like, yo, I should have went to my godmother's house. And he's like, you still believe in that bullshit? He's like, no, man, I needed to make a sacrifice to Chango. And then he ends up being the one getting sawed up in the fucking joint. So they take away these moral imprints out of it, out of the story, so that you see how the tradition is really effective. And it was a heads up, like, yo, homie, I was supposed to go to my godmother's crib. If he'd have went to his godmother's crib, that might not have happened.
Right.
You feel me? So the film doesn't, what happens is the people that do know, they leave little, you know what I'm saying, breadcrumbs, but they're not enough that people will stop with the sensationalism of things. You feel me? See, because you got to actually have to have seen somebody really get possessed for real, to have any respect for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have seen somebody really get possessed and not know you from Adam, and the nigga start telling you your business. And you be like, wow, wow, wow. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Feel me? And so it's very hard to transfer that profoundness to film without it being about that whole culture.
Right.
To answer the brother's question, how do you start from the ground up? You go get a glass of water and a candle. And you start reading about spiritualism, and that'll give you a blueprint. Bro, I can't say it's in the book. Like, the book is that, like I said, it's a repertory work. It's something you're gonna keep going back to.
So final thoughts about, because I don't want to infringe on Black Dot time. Black Dot about to go live in a half hour. It's 500th episode. I remember that 500th episode. Okay. You know
I gotta go check. I gotta check in with Dot too. I gotta go get my little provisions first, and then I'm gonna go check in with Dot tonight. Feel me? Word. You know, that's, you know, but Dot is man, God bless him and his son, man. They are a true example of, you know what I mean? Like, when you talk about people that should be idled, You know what I mean? Idolized. Like Black Dot Dwayne is a good dude, man. And I know this because I've interfaced with his wife and his ex-wife, and his ex-wife has the same amount of love that she, you know what I mean, maintains the same amount of love for him, and that's a testament about what type of man he is.
Right.
You did? So that I've been around Malcolm's mom and Mama Dot, and so Dot is a good dude, man, and his, you know, his circumstances are based on his ability to work hard for his family. That he worked hard for his family, and he's suffering for that reason. And so I send all the light and love to Black Dot, man, and the Urban Next family. They every, that's the black news. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
Real talk. Like, they're the only place that they should be going to is a network, you know what I'm saying, television station for them to be doing the news. Like, real talk.
Right.
Real shit. They keep it classy. That shit is what I would expect from a black news, you know what I'm saying, panel. Word.
Yeah, they got it.
He's a legend.
Yeah, they got it, and I ain't got it. That's not me.
Yeah. Now you on location, you know what I mean? Reporting and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're in the field reporting.
This is the vintage. You know what I'm saying? This is well, Marlo told that security guard when he came outside after he swiped that shit from the store. He said, "You want things to be one way? It's the other way." You know what I'm saying? Slim Charles said, "This, that other thing." That's what this shit is over here.
Yeah, but it's the other way.
It's the other way.
Cold fact.
Yeah,
and
that was Chris. And that was Chris Stanton getting out the car to make eye contact. Oh, that nigga? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's the other way. You in the vacant.
To the person that said that stuff earlier, man, I ain't attacking, but I'm just saying, man, we got, you know what I mean? Sometimes you gotta sit and listen for a minute. I'm not talking no stupid shit. I'm not telling you about no third moons. I'm not telling you about nothing that you can't prove or necessarily see right here on the ground. So don't do me like that. Because I'll be seeing y'all sitting there attentive, listening to them tell you about some beings that they ain't never saw before. The niggas be highly invested in that bullshit. I'll be like, what? Like, come on, son. That shit ain't gonna put no interest on your penis or money in your bank account. Why is you listening to this nigga?
They there about the thousands over there. Yeah.
Yeah, man, them niggas be talking about these beings and this mothership. And I'm like, word to the intelligent people came in a giant tuna can with bathrooms in it to come over here to find us. This is what they prepared for. You got to be kidding me. You heard?
Yes.
Anyhow, your knowledge, you know how we do.
Right.
Anytime you know what I'm saying, you press the button, you put the bat signal in, you know what I mean? We're gonna show up like the penguin. Feel me?
Yeah, I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Already.
Right.
And to the family out there, if you got anything from any of this, man, I appreciate that. And if you didn't, you should not be listening to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Real talk.
You don't get it now.
Yeah, you ain't gonna
get it now. Then figure that shit out when you get home. Okay, that's what Redman said at the end of that shit. You ain't get that shit. Laugh now. Then figure that shit out when you get home.
That's a whole factory. Yeah, no, and thank my mom Squirrels for acting correct today. They didn't go all the way project on me. Them niggas out there making all kinds of noise. Why.
So I need the election protection. Book this man out, man. I need 400 or 500 people having booked out where I got to be on the waiting list. All right.
Yeah, if you like what we were talking about, hit the Cash App, $ Slaughter with Love. You know what I'm saying? With an SLAUGTAWITLOVE, Slaughter with Love. Hit the Cash App. You know what I'm saying? I ain't begging, but shit, nigga, you know what I mean? Could use some shekels.
Socketry, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the socketry. I could use them shekels, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I ain't swimming through them like Scrooge McDuck yet, but you know what I mean? Word. But yeah, man, peace to the family. You know what I'm saying? Everybody be well. White peace and progress in your spirits, man. And take a glass of water in the candle and take it seriously, man. That shit it'll save your life.
Right.
All right.
All right, Oba.
All right, knowledge, peace and blessings, man.
Peace, blessings.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. That in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that. No more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get
And
back
that
to
motive
the
is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.